5 minutes to go here before we get, well, let's be honest, not much. We'll get this rate decision. Will be no change on the interest rates. Again, we'll get the statement that accompanies this rate decision, which will have some comments from not only Fed Chair Powell, but it'll also have comments from the committee as a whole as far as what they discussed during the two-day meeting. Remember, if you're seeing this for the first time, this is the wrap-up of a two-day meeting. So they go behind closed doors yesterday, and then they finish it probably by 10 o'clock in the morning today. And then they, I don't know, have lunch for the rest of the day. But we'll touch on some of the comments that come through. It's worth noting this is not one of the meetings where we'll get economic projections. Economic projections and the dot plot we'll see again in June. So this is not one of those meetings, so we don't have to worry about that. But overall, the market here with 4 minutes to go, it's been very, very sideways since the start of the day, ahead of Fed Chair Powell. You can see even at the bottom here, volume very, very low. This is just the SPY, if anyone's wondering. So the S&P 500, we'll see what the reaction is. When we get this, real quick, we'll jump over to the guys here and get, what are we looking at here, guys, ahead of 2 o'clock?
No dot plot just has me bummed. I mean, what are we supposed to do without a dot plot? Nothing. Who cares about the dot plot?
We'll have no idea what to do.
No. Look, the few things that are going to stand out for me, I'm in one position, but NEO is just from the morning. My intention was to get flat. I have a trailing stop on it under 10 bucks. But AMD, 145 in VWAP. Meta is an absolute rocket ship. My goal will be don't try to go short on Meta. And if we set up for like a 230 run, don't forget that you like longs in Meta. But who knows? Like if you dip to the downside, things like VWAP, things like 432, if I'm looking to buy a dip on the whipsaw action, which is usually the case if I'm expecting nothing because they're not going to change rates, then between 2 and 230, you're just looking for scalp levels. That'll be support on strong stocks and resistance on weak stocks. And I want to keep it that simple. So Meta, VWAP, Meta 432 are going to stand out for me. And then AMD, once it broke that 145, maybe VWAP in there as well to the south side. Those are the first two things I'm looking at. I doubt I will trade NEO for another entry, but if it gets back to the high of the day, I'll just get out.
All right, so here it is right here. There is a minute chance, ladies and gentlemen, that we start to have the craziest trading day.
It's not zero?
That you've seen in a very, very long time. If there's a cut. 97.6% say that in 2 minutes we get that read that we're expecting, and then at 2:30 is when all the fun does come through and start with us. But I want to thank everybody for once again joining us here at Trader TV Live. We will now wait until Powell takes the stage. 2:30. We'll get that number in our ear. We are sponsored by Benzinga Pro, so I'll have that right here as well. I have that in my ear. We've got Brendan in our ear. You're in the right space. The minute we get any information, we will get it to you. The fastest, the quickest, and we'll be showing you live charts. So I still have got Amazon on my mind, and I'm going to be trading the TQQs when this is all happening. So I'll just be looking at the TQs, looking for right now to short some pops. If the market gets going, I expect Powell to be pretty hawkish heading into his prepared speech, and then possible questions after that. We've had some hot numbers come in. So, I mean, if these PMI going to go to the upside, CPI going to go to the upside, they're not going to be raising rates if they're not going to be cutting rates if that continues to happen. So 1 minute to go. It's almost like kickoff to the Super Bowl, yet Super Bowls often don't have a 98% chance of picking the winner.
It's like basically imagine a scenario in which you have Dak Prescott in the Super Bowl versus Josh Allen.
Right.
So you know it's like, yeah, you love the Super Bowl, it's exciting, but you know in that situation, Josh Allen's going to beat Dak Prescott, so you know that's what's up. But if you do get a change in the language, obviously Brendan's really good. He's going to give you, this is what they said last time, this is what they've changed. And that there was that labor cost number that came out that no one even cared about. That was a huge mover. So I'm looking for some things, obviously, to fade. We talked about that AMD, but I don't want to close the book on some strong stocks. Meta has been an absolute rocket ship. There's one stock I don't want to short today. Right. I think it's Meta.
Right,
but 20 seconds to go. Let's maybe get back to the desk.
Back to the desk, yep.
All right, we'll show you the market here as we get this reaction. This is a 15-minute chart of the S&P 500. So again, there's going to be no change here at 2 o'clock as far as the interest rate is concerned. We will see if there's any kind of comments that come out. There it is, just hearing in my ear. No change, shocking. No change, guys. 5.25 to 5.5 remains the rate. Fed votes in favor of policy was unanimous. Inflation has eased over the past year, but remains elevated. I'll sift through these and let you know if there's anything surprising.
Yeah, when I saw the triple Qs do absolutely nothing there, I was like, okay, it's definitely unchanged. Now we wait to hear what some of those words that Brendan was talking about. What are they going to do with the securities? What are they going to do with Fed fund rate? What's the expected target? So we're just listening right now in my ear, and as soon as Brendan has something, we're going to throw it right back to him. But you can see the market is reacting positively. So if you're going to look at it from a daily standpoint, we've seen the market move like this just on Fed speak. So now we'll see if it can get back up to the upside. I was looking for shorts, but let's go over to Brendan for some more clarity.
First hawkish note here. Fed does not expect it will be appropriate to cut rates until it has gained greater confidence inflation is moving sustainably towards 2%. We've heard that many times in the past, but it's been a while here as far as on the statement itself.
Yeah, I mean, USD just went down a little bit. I saw the yields were up like a couple of ticks. Now they're right back in to the downside. So you're getting some movement. The market's not moving that much. No. And the name that I was watching over here, just want to make sure I check yields. You don't want to be completely off base there. But yeah, even AMD, like AMD with a $10 range on the day, and on that wick of 60 to 70 cents, that's it. So nowhere near a short level that I like. How strong is Meta? And this is a situation, like if I don't trade 230, I don't trade 230. Meta is broken out the top. That's definitely looking like it's a strong one. I'm not shorting that name, not shorting. You got to find something else.
All right, guys, let's go, man. There's the TQQ. We talked about what we'd be trading. There's the TQs right back in the building. One more time, and here it goes, man. We are elevated one more time here on the market. I mean, what else is new? But let's see if we can get a little bit of a move down. We are now short at 52.20. It just was in the 80s there. We only took one piece out at 52. We'll put another piece there right now just to see. We're right here right now. Hopefully we'll get that fill at 52 flat, and then we'll wait for that bottom. We just touched view up. I thought we were turning around. Look, to me, until Brendan comes over here, oh no. Okay, good. Thought you were mean for a second. Until Brendan comes over here with something that changes my opinion, we still have the exact same story that we had all day. Not much happening here unless he tells me something right now.
Fed maintaining mortgage-backed security redemptions cap at $35 billion per month will reinvest excess MBS principal. So there's a few things on the housing market as well. The rate at which they're running off the balance sheet, cutting Treasury redemptions cap to $25 billion per month from $60 starting June 1st. So Fed fund futures now at November as the first possible rate cut. We talked to Frank yesterday, this time on the show. At that point, there was still a 50-50 shot at September, but now we're looking at November, guys.
Yeah, that's not necessarily going to be what anyone wants to hear. So the only thing that came in, wick top on Amazon, that looks like it failed. Not VWAP because it can't even get there. Expectations for the size of the move are very different. Sometimes you're thinking, oh, it's going to pop and give like a couple of dollars. We can see 180, we can see VWAP. But right in here, 179 looks like that local high. AMD, literally nothing. I'm trying to grab 145s. So it looks like going inside of the range is the way to go for this. If you're looking for what did something absurd, Meta blew out the top and is just hanging out there. So yeah, if we actually end up going higher off of 230, I'm just going to say it. This is like the fourth time I said it. I do not want to short Meta if we end up trending, or just in general. If it has to be an afternoon trend up, and then I would want Meta to the long side. But no matter what, I'm not shorting that stock. There's going to be other fish to fry. USD is continuing to fall. Yeah,
so that's the other thing. I think we should be watching some USD here. I mean, the VIX doesn't really matter because we're watching the market here, but
like a little bit.
I mean, so my out. We have a couple outs there at 52. We still have a little bit more than half this position. These are dangerous times to trade, as we've talked about that over and over again. I'm using 52.50 as my out. Just run the top, and then we'll get out of that one. You want to take out the high of the day on something that was expected, then you go ahead and do that. I still feel like I want to get sharp and ready. I don't have any more bids. I have nothing else going on right now, just waiting for this. The futures to settle down and get going a little bit here. It does appear that this is a big nothing burger with Fed Chair Powell. They're maintaining the $35 billion runoff cap. We sort of talked about that. Strongly committed to returning inflation to 2% target. I mean, they might have to raise rates to get back down to 2%. So I still
2%. We talk about 2%.
I mean, we got close enough, but I mean, if that's, I thought maybe we could get a change in target at some point. But it
Skip, we can't get no 2%. It ain't gonna happen. Ain't gonna happen, Skip. Somebody said I look like Shannon Sharp. I don't look like Shannon Sharp. I can't even do a Shannon Sharp impression. I didn't even
know that was Shannon Sharp. So, that's because I don't know the show as well.
I watch a lot of Club Shay Shay.
Yeah.
It's like the way I see it. Like I used to think that Joe Rogan was the second best podcast out there. Yeah. Now I think that
is it that
I actually would say that Club Shay Shay is the second best podcast out there. The Market podcast is the number one.
Yeah.
Number two, Club Shay Shay, and then and maybe third. Can be Joe Rogan.
Yeah, we're gonna go. We did not reload TQs, but they are coming back down right now, Brendan.
Here's the red line statement for everyone. So it looks like ads. They've added a bunch here. So in recent months, there has been a lack of further progress towards the committee's 2% inflation objective. Yeah, no kidding, that's at the top there. And then talking about mortgage-backed securities here, the committee will maintain the monthly redemption cap, as I was just mentioning, for mortgage-backed securities, $35 billion. Will reinvest the principal payments in excess of this cap into the Treasury. So they added a bit about mortgage-backed securities, and then also they're still not seeing any progress, guys.
So why are we bullish?
I mean, the thing is that we talked about nothing was going to change other than earnings. And I tweeted that out last night. I said, do we really even care what the Fed says? And now I'm putting pen to paper and doing what I thought I would see here, and that would be a fade. So I want to fade this move. I'm not seeing anything there. All those crossed out lines just looks like jibber jabber to me, because until the Fed actually hits some of these targets and does something about them, I mean, now we're not hearing about rate cuts until November. So if all of these expenditure, PCI, PMI, CPI, BPI back there, we'll talk to Patty in a minute maybe, if they keep coming out higher than expected, then their target rate, I feel like, of 2% is not going to be something that's going to be achievable by the end of this year. So does that mean that even rate cuts then even get taken off the table as we approach November and some of these numbers get hotter and hotter? But there goes TQQ. It's just doing nothing. I wish the market was doing something else. But right now, we're just hovering. So if I can scalp some of this out back down near 52, great. We're about 10 cents away from getting stopped out. Like our stop rate here, we're short at 23s. Our stop is that break of 50. So here we go. Did we just, yes, sir. We just got filled again right there. So let's go, man. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. We're playing the short. I just told you why. Here we go. Let's make some cash here today. Live on the Trade with Shay Shay show. At some point, we'll get that big.
Shay Shay can't trade.
But right now, yeah, I think we did cross. I think we're number 2 or number 1 most downloaded podcast for the week.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm a fan. Legit Hall of Famer.
Or are we?
He whooped my butt 10 times out of 10.
Front door, Randy.
You know what?
The Wingstop man has potentially arrived.
The wings are in the house.
I have the arrival time right now. Nope. Still 3 minutes away, according to Uber Eats app.
Wah, wah, wah. You can't fake us out on the
209.
wings.
It said 209.
But you can't fake us out on the chicken wings. The chicken wings are either here or they're not.
We've got 3 sauces. Those were the choices. We'll save the big thing for when they come through, but for right now, the market's bouncing up and down.
Yeah,
if there's any specific stocks or any sort of questions you want to know, I just talked a little bit about my opinion of what's going on right now. Bitcoin down to 58,000. Let me figure out what's going on with the Uber
actually,
driver
technically, that's up to 58,000 because it was at 57 and change.
Oh, was it?
Before.
Did it go that low?
I'm still just Amazon off of VWAP. I would say this is probably one of the more, just in terms of volatility, like the volatility was probably a breakout in Meta. Like Amazon, I should probably just go into scalp mode if it's going to be a 50, 60 cent range. But Meta's a strong one, 440. Bitcoin, I'm going to look at IBIT for you guys out there because that's what we trade. Here at Real Trading, you can trade BTC, but the ETF is just incredibly liquid. This is the bounce, but it was getting smoked all day long. So this looks pretty bullish as well.
Going down.
Whatever this works out to at VWAP here, 32.60 if it can hold. I'm at the money on Amazon. I got to look back over at AMD because that was the first thing I wanted short. And look at this. I can't even get inside of the range top on AMD. Stock has a $10 range on the day, and I'm not even getting a pop, 80 cents or so to get me filled. So I'm going to come down into the 50s just a little bit here. Remember, when 230 hits and he's on the podium and then there's actually something which could be different from our expectations, that's when things get a little bit more interesting, because the Q&A comes in there and we get a little bit more color as opposed to just the prepared statement. So just going to cancel the old order, stick with the new one. Neo is still chilling. All right, I have an offer on Neo, my trailing stop. I should move it to underneath VWAP because VWAP moves up during the day, Neo. I know this, and trail needs to be now under 15.
All right, so I was just, I'm actually talking with Randy, make sure we get this order all sorted out perfectly fine, because there's not one, if there's a moment where Ramin's going to be disappointed, then I am disappointed. All right, here comes the TQs right now, and you know what? As we organize food, we are making that money right here with the TQs as it continues to go to the downside. We just talked about where we wanted short. I said before this that we were going to short into the high of the day. That's exactly what happened. We got about 10 pennies away from the high of the day, and now we start to come back in. We are out of 35% of this trade as it just touches back into VWAP. And I was debating shorting Apple. Depending on how these wings go, we'll have a look at Wingstop stock in a minute. But right here, 172 was the area that I written down here on the sticky note. So if we got up there, that was my next choice. But for right now, it's TQs. And all of a sudden, this became, and you're seeing it live here. We do not show share size. We've talked about that. But now in just, I mean, you guys can take it for whatever you want. In 12 minutes, this is now P&L 2 for me, if we were to get out of everything right now. So there it is. Oh, damn. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. Let's go. Do not forget.
Do not.
Under 500. Be the lucky 500,000th subscriber, and you may or may not receive a chicken wing from Wingstop if there are any left over.
Spoiler alert.
There may not be any
left over. We keep it real around here. They're going to be gone very fast. I promise you this. Sean got boneless, which just means they're going to get eaten even faster.
We had a request for boneless, and then we also decided that...
Wasn't my call.
We know that. We know that. It was also decided that for the show, sitting here and then eating it on the bone and then disposing of said bone may not be the most delectable visual.
No, it's the right call. I obviously, you know, the real way to do it is to eat.
I never have boneless wings.
I'm not a
except for today.
I'm not a boneless wing fan.
Let's go.
I'm not gonna say it is what it is. You gotta respect the fact that, hey, you're on a keyboard.
I know. And the thing is, I ordered it, so I would have, you know, to make everybody happy, the best bet would have been to go like half-half. But unfortunately, Uber does not have the customizability.
Oh, you can't try to do that. Yeah.
Of that.
Meta's bouncing.
Should just call the store myself, actually.
Come on, let's.
Gone in 60 seconds, says Henry Chung. Yeah, we got some good flavors coming through. All right, there's another out there for us. We did talk about that as it does come through. Good trading, I feel like, anyways, today on the TQs. Now, whether or not it goes up or goes down, I just hope to be able to hold out hope that we can get this press conference going and we don't get the top run. But even if we do, we'd still like to get a little bit more into that high of the day. And then to me, I feel like there will be some questions about the target rate. And then if that comes into play, if he potentially says he's going to up the target a little bit from 2 to 2.5, but apparently that's not what it is. It says it's not. If there's some talk of that, then I could see this market really rallying, and then we'll try to get out of the way. But until then, I'm pretty happy with what we're doing. Right now, I have completed over lunchtime the official Jets lineup for High Park Little League, which our first exhibition game is today. The weather is gorgeous. We will not get rained out. Jinx.
It was gorgeous
on
yesterday.
That one. Yeah, we had a practice yesterday in a mud-lined field, which was still fun. Yeah. All right, so we're ready to go. Yeah, right, Apple 172. I still like the Amazon short. We've already hit that today. I like it.
AMD, nothing.
Yeah, not much.
NVIDIA's starting to look a little bit spicy. I mean, like a tiny bit.
Like lemon peppery?
Well, okay, not lemon peppery. Okay. Maybe like what's milder than that? I don't know. Yeah, what's even milder than that? Like literally mild. Medium. Let's call it medium. You got some higher lows in here, but this is, for NVIDIA, a $5 range is the stock has traveled $50 today or $45.
Where can I bet on
It's
middle?
still inside. You're not even close to VWAP. You're $5 away from VWAP. So, like, would you short it here? No, it has to go higher. If you're breaking it out, it's got to go through 35. CGC, you can look at the wheat stocks because maybe they're doing something again. Hey, CGC's finally catching a bid. Long out,
A little
long
puff
out,
pass action over
long out. See, like even when I was ready to celebrate the last bid that I had in CGC, I was holding like 80% of the trade for more than just 20 cents. But now it's starting to go. This could be something because you know what? The market doesn't actually have to move for CGC to do something. I like that. Now if Powell does nothing for us, at least this is now short sell restricted. It can give you a bounce play. I like here, 1065. Let's go for a dip underneath 11 with maybe like a 1050 stop, that local bottom here. First available dip. This way, if we do nothing till 2:30, they have caught a bid. So good luck mentioning CGC. It's got its own catalyst from yesterday.
Shout out to Kyle Burdett here. Yeah, you are spitting facts. We do recognize that true wings, of course, have bone in.
No, of course they do.
We do agree that they do add value with the bone in, and we prefer bone in. Okay, now, all right. It's been recommended that maybe people should send in some bone-in wings if they really want
don't
to
have
see
to do
those. But no, I'm not going to say who said that, Sharif. No, he didn't say that. But as we go here, I'm going to like that, Big Kyle. And more importantly, you have spoken as well. The short any pops on the SPY. So we're just having fun about the wings. They're going to be absolutely fantastic regardless. But you know, I agree with you. I'm starting to short it right now, Kyle. So I'm already short the market. I mean, thank you for the super chat. I agree wholeheartedly that is the play.
There they are.
Bag secured.
Bag
that even
secured.
says bag secured?
That's hilarious.
Okay, here we go. Where flavor gets its wings.
Oh, you can smell it. You can smell it.
Damn. Just as we're getting in and out of some trades over here, Randy. I see you had your meeting that didn't last too long there. You're in and out of that meeting,
You have
baby.
a meeting?
You are in and out of that meeting.
Oh.
I'll be back.
Yeah, that's
All
the
right.
problem. No, there's not. By the
Give me
time
that
the meeting's
receipt.
done, there's not going to be anything left. I mean, you say that, but there won't be.
All right, let's just see. Okay, all right, as we go, maybe we should bring them,
Maybe we should have like a
Give 'em to the
plate or
desk.
something.
or something. Yeah, we got to organize this a little bit better. But they are here. The wings are now
Oh,
in
that
the
smells
building.
good.
Fabian, just figure out something to do with these, and
that
we can come pick them up, or we'll figure that out.
I actually didn't eat all of my salad.
Hey, you
today.
maybe do something for TikTok. Like, there's some crazy people with Wingstop stuff. You know what I mean? Go crazy on TikTok, you know what I mean? All right, so here we go. Nice move. There it is. 52 comes into play right there. As there it goes. TQ's back in. Let's see if we can fire off the cannon a couple more times here for the short. Really, I have one more bid down here at VWAP one more time, and actually it's a little bit lower than that. A little bit lower than VWAP at 80 actually is where it is. And then we'll see if we get that drip, because right now I still want to respect some of the rules of engagement for trading for me, like, you know, making sure that we're in the right spot at the right time, making sure we're trying to respect some of the lines that we randomly have on here, which are not random at all. That's the kind of stuff that we're trying to do right now. So if we get VWAP, then the 200, then we can let the rest ride. But for right now, very, very comfortable sitting here with this short. We just took another piece off. We have 50% left now, and more outs. Like, we just don't have 5 outs. We're taking, like, trying to take pieces out here. So if it does make a move down, then yippee-ki-yay, but we're gonna have to wait to see if that does continue. So for right now, happy with this short, and I do want to fade some pops.
Just no fades for me in CGC. That's the only thing. I'm about to get bit. Yes. No.
They're eating the wings. That's why it's on me. There you go.
There we go. All right, there's a buyer at $11 on CGC, so I was just at 11. Now I'm at 11.02. So we jumped in there. Just want to get a little something on this stair step up. So previous high. Remember, we're looking for a dip back into 70s or so. Now I'm going to change it up. If it's going to stall out at 11 even, we'll give it to like 11.90.
They're up there.
Well, they're up there. They're up at the desk, Randy.
We are gonna do them.
What I love the excitement for chicken wings. You'd think if we don't actually eat food around here. We get chicken literally every single day, but the wings are rare. Our caterer does do them, but it's not the same as Wingstop.
Yeah, we're trying to find these sauces.
We don't get any good flavors either. That's the other thing. So CGC first stop, 11.20, and then 11.40. We're looking for some upside. I still haven't been filled in NEO, but I think that's going to come out pretty soon.
And I'm starting to agree, guys. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if the chicken wings don't have bones in them, we should definitely order more. And we should get some more. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. We're getting ready.
What are we doing?
Okay. Yeah, they're getting ready. That's our.
Hey, Ray, can you throw us like a plate or something?
I really like those behind the scenes looks right there. So we're only 10 minutes away. Like, this is going to get. I may not eat anything until about 3-ish or 2:45 when it starts to settle down, but let's just continue. Amazon is making a move somewhere.
It's at VWAP right now.
That's what it is. So we just got, I just got the scanner through. VWAP scanner for Amazon making its way back up. This is before I tell you, it is my P&L number one. AMD and Amazon are like neck and neck right now. We shorted Amazon right at the top. And we wrote down these levels. We talked about 181, 182, into 182.50. Let it make that high, and then the dump early, and then we just, like I said, sometimes it's luck, and you just got to be prepared. And when luck hits, you want to make money on it. So we hit that, and there's our last out rate there. So we only held that. I think it was a little more than 10%. I feel like it was 20, 25%. We held that to the end, and then eventually we broke that level of 178. So it did go as low as 176.50, but I didn't have any air down here. So once we took out the sort of the pre-market, we thought we could continue, and we did. That's a good out for us. Possible reload rate here. Just dangerous. So I'm putting this on the radar for a reload because we don't need this to come out and then the market really pops. And I'm just going to lose what I made when we weren't waiting for Powell. So we'll just hit this fun graphic because it's really the only Powell one that we have. We have a Fed pivot one, I think.
Yeah, but that one doesn't make any sense.
And it's definitely not happening today. So
no, they're not pivoting, obviously, today. The numbers were not. There's nothing in the numbers that would suggest that they should change their stance, and there's nothing that's breaking VWAP here. Let me just quickly double check NVIDIA, because if NVIDIA goes,
they're starting to smell real good, and like
starting to smell
like
real good.
If this TikTok stuff doesn't get recorded ASAP,
come on,
there's going to be a TikTok that you're going to want to videotape for sure.
Oh, it's true. Are you already eating?
Going ham on these wings.
How is everyone eating? But
Sharif is eating them. Okay, all right. Okay, them strong words. All right, so let's regroup right now as we try to focus.
Really, Sharif?
Man, those smell unbelievable. Look at these guys. Yeah, looking at them. Yeah. Oh, hi, Ramin. How are you doing?
Hey, what's
very
up?
Nice to see you.
Microsoft triple top.
Sharif.
Maybe?
Oh, yeah, Sharif getting in on that. Oh, yeah.
Wow, Microsoft is strong, eh?
Sharif, I think today is some sort of a day where you're not supposed to have too much protein or something. I feel like you've had way too much protein. You've had too much chicken today. That's probably what it is.
I mean, let's be real. Sharif probably has more protein in a day than I do in like an entire week.
Yes.
Like the egg content.
Now they're leaving the stage. Okay. Here I am, making the order, making sure we get boneless, editing the order, because the order, as many of you may be interested in, was initially bone in. When I'm saying wings, I'm saying wings.
The wings have been here for like
I go around, I figure out all the flavors and all of this.
10 minutes?
All right.
We haven't had anything. I can literally see this dude like licking
Google back up as well. Some of these names are starting to fly around a little bit, but honestly,
VWAP might break an
we're sort of just having fun here. I mean, I want to welcome all 5,000 of you, which is a great opportunity to hit the like and the subscribe as we get closer and closer to that magical number that we will hit and destroy 450,000 subscribers. So thank you so much for everybody that does continue to support the show. It means a lot to everybody here. So. All right, Google, again, a strong name. I don't mind, I'm trying to figure out some longs that I like. Like, if the market goes, look how good this 166 is on Google. I think this is a fantastic break long if the market goes, but we need another $1.50. So breaking through that 166 on a name that I like. I think Google's strong. It's got faded those last couple days, obviously off earnings. We talked about letting it settle down. Meta, another name, super strong today. Definitely has an opportunity to go, on a strong press conference. So that's another name here, 443. I mean, I haven't really looked at an exact level here. Ultimately, I guess that top right there is 440, 450 or so, leading us up to 448. It's a $400 stock. Like, this name can go multiple dollars without even thinking about it. So that could be a good break. And then if we're wrong and we're trying to go the other way, which I'm already in the futures, I'm looking for Apple to fade out at that 172. I like that trade. I haven't been in it. It is a sticky note level today. It's the sticky note number 2. So we'll wait to see if we can get in on that one, as I like the opportunity there. But as you can see, you cannot get blood or money from a stone when this is what's happening. So there's nothing right now in the futures. If anything, we're starting to tick higher. The longs could have won buying off VWAP. The shorts could have won sort of doing what we're doing. But at the end of the day, this is not going to last. There's 4 minutes now until the market dramatically moves. I feel like I am going to get stopped out. I'm not averaging back.
I just got out of Amazon and
I do have a small average in, but
Amazon just, what is this
you
wick
went
doing
short
here? I was short underneath VWAP on Amazon now. I got to zoom in because you got that wick aftermarket. So Amazon just broke VWAP. I'm out. Wanted that short into the low. You got about $1.50 range in there, but you just sort of hung out, broke out. Even CGC stopped moving, which is wild because that stock was.
I thought I was just gonna get we can just get one of each.
Oh, I can mess with this.
So the idea was we got hickory, we got lemon pepper, and we got the mango habanero. Damn. Yeah, let me take one.
Oh yeah, napkin. That's probably not.
And then bring them back over there.
One? Yeah. Oh, we're sharing, aren't we?
That's mango.
I know.
Yeah, hickory and the lemon. So
I'm not. I can't take. I'm not taking one.
Cheers. All right, get him out of here. We'll take one of each flavor. All right, one of each. Thank you, Ramin. We'll take one of each flavor and we'll get on this. How is that, Neil?
I'm a little impatient. I'm sorry. You said cheers. I was already eating. I can be rude like that when there's food around. It's good. It's delicious. It's tasty. Obviously, if you're gonna have the boneless, sometimes you want like.
Ooh, the habanero hitting though. The habanero hitting a bit.
Habanero. Oh, I didn't get the. I didn't. You're right. I didn't.
It's all right though.
That's my bad. And I stole the fork too, but.
3 minutes. All right. That's tasty. Do that more often. Thank you, Randy. Wingstop. Like, I can promote the living crap out of these wings. So you let me know. At Trader TV, Sean. New sponsor alert.
I'll promote anything if I can eat it.
Those habaneros, like.
Yes.
Nice spice to that.
I'll have what I'm having. That's what's up.
All right, let's go. All right, here we go. So the market is now starting to go back up to the upside. Just a quick little look here in on our TQs.
Video.
We're going to get stopped out in about 5 pennies now. It's going to the upside. This is sort of what we thought could happen again. I knew that this always happens. It'll just move dramatically. He'll hit the stage. You'll probably get, I think, it generally, and I should have probably done some sort of a study on this, but I'm always feeling like the market really rallies for the first little bit when he hops on and then continues to give back after that. So it looks
anecdotally, I agree with that.
It looks like we'll be wrong here and get stopped out on the high of the day as we break the high of the day in anticipation of a Fed that we know is halting and not cutting at least until November.
Amazon's already another, it took 20 minutes for Amazon to go 50 cents to VWAP. It took 30 seconds after that for it to go another 50 cents. Meta's a strong one, though. Meta's definitely the big, strong one. 443, those are good, and they have some nice punch to it. I did not get the lemon, so I took 2, and I was already eating. That was a mistake. We fail sometimes. But hey, Meta, super strong. I think you want to look for dip buys, but right before the podium is not when you want to get into, when I ever want to get into position. Because we know when he prepares those comments, we'd expect somewhat hawkish comments. And then maybe we can have a pump after we get a bit of Q&A. That's what it's all about. And those are tasty. As long as we get some more, I'm cool with that. NVIDIA is the other name that I want to pay attention to. I thought AMD was going to be a thing. Really did, but AMD just not really moving. So maybe we get VWAP on AMD. I don't think it's done yet. Anything under VWAP, I still want to have the idea to put on short setups. So if we do make a curl or he takes his downside, AMD's still one I'd want. No more in terms of Amazon. This is why you get out. Like, look at Amazon. They're gone. already another like dollar to the upside. That's why you get away from it. CGC, I'm long at 2s. It's at 87, so that's starting to slow down a little bit. But you got to be patient. Meta's still the rocket ship, undefeated Meta. You want dip buys. Meta is like, okay, you had your chance. Now what? You got earnings came. You had your chance on Meta, and it's a higher low already. Oh, if this takes out 450 and you didn't get a dip buy after earnings, there's gonna be some salty people for that stock.
Wingstop stock up $5 since those wings appeared on Trader TV Live. Just want to note that to anybody Wingstop shareholders.
It'd be 10 if we got them.
They may want to send more wings next time, and then we'll get to the upside there. But good job there. Wingstop, again, good quarter. We just talked about them. That's probably why we're doing it. Okay, it's 2:30. Jerome will be hitting the podium in a couple minutes, if not immediately right now. All right, so my level for the TQs now, I'm only sitting higher. I'm sitting at 54. Well, in here, 80s. So if we get that bump up into here, we have the 200 period moving average on a 20-minute chart. So the 400 minutes, we'll wait to see if we can get up to there. $54 or so is the level where we'll put on a real position short of the market. So here we go, Kyle and everybody else. If it started, so if we see anything at all come through, we'll hit Brendan up immediately, and you're in the right spot now for Powell and a reaction to this market. So let's see what happens here. I might take an initial, I'm gonna take a small short here. Okay, now we're starting to pull back. I'm just gonna
chill-in short?
Just a small one, just to see back in Qs right now.
Yeah, he's
small
on the
though.
Podium, but we haven't heard anything. I mean, I have my Benzing on.
I'm just reloading my Benzing. I haven't heard anything either
from them. So remember, it's prepared comments, so you're not expecting anything crazy, but there was a spike down. I suppose if I had just gotten into AMD, it would have worked, because you're already starting to come back in here pretty nicely. Yeah, 145.5. I'll respect the beginning of the comments range here and look to get into this one in front of a VWAP, as you're definitely heading back into the downside.
All right, there we go.
Is it even on?
The lemon pepper might be my favorite. All right, here we go, down to 52 and change, going to the downside right now. So we just reshorted. We're short at 43. Remember, we took a minute of a short there and got hit. So we've already talked about that, Al. But we're still up on the stock. We just got to get this down in here. And there it is. Let's go. Let's go. There it is again. You know, being in the stock, trying to make this work. Here goes TQQ. Boom to the downside right there. Let's go. We would have much rather had a bigger position, but we did tell you that we were starting another small one here. This is the futures. This is Fed, and we're going to figure out what is going on right now as the market comes back in a little bit. We just touched 51.77. Wow, we touched a lot lower to the downside right there, 51.90. And so here we go. Nice move to the downside, starting to go. Let's see if the market can hold out. But so far, this is what's happening. Apple's nowhere near, well, maybe it got up there. I wasn't paying attention. 71.50. No, I was looking now. 71s. Amazon was another one that we wanted as well coming into play there. So 180.50 so far for Amazon. I know you got the water over there. I got to get a water too.
You need,
you don't need it at all. You don't need it.
No, it's not that hot. No, it's not that spicy. But Meta, I only want Meta long. I'm on the offer AMD. I still like that one short. It's underneath VWAP. Meta's trend up. 439 was the wick bottom. At 2 o'clock, 439 was resistance. So I'm going to let it travel down in there. And then AMD, as some people like to call it, it's catching a bid, but I think you've got a clear VWAP in here to play off of. As I still not really hearing any comments, but we have, look, you have the desk here. If anything
Google's coming in
remotely important, you can see there, like, nothing's actually hit that I think is going to move us. So if you bounce up, AMD short VWAP, Meta long 439. That's where we're looking for bounce. And if it can't hold 439, I think reasonably VWAP is down at 435, which gets you another entry.
146. Yeah, we should have already had. I mean, AMD's been a big stock for us today for sure. 145.50. It's coming back up right now to that level. So let's put on a small piece right now. I mean, we're here to dance on this day. I mean, I don't want to just lose money just because of the day that it is or anything like that. But you know, let's give it a shot. We're into AMD right now. We talked about, I mean, Neil just mentioned there, we're close enough to the VWAP. We've been short. We had that. This was such a monster short here, guys. Look where we covered. We put this on right when we left. This was 10.50. So if you're with me earlier on during the day, you saw me put this short on. This was 10.50. We covered, and said we were holding. So that's a 147. That out right there is 144. That's $3 right there on AMD. So obviously we don't ever want to give anything back, but here goes AMD right back up to VWAP, and not that same level, but close enough, up to 146. Let's see what's happening right now as we get another short averaged in now, 145.40 right here for AMD to the short side. Put a bid down a little lower in case we do come back in, but we're short AMD and we're short the market right here as we just wait to hear question and answer period with our stops in place.
Yeah, look, Meta, you can't even get
Here
the
comes
bid on
AMD.
Meta. Like, AMD's already starting to come back down. The Meta dip buy got to 441, and it's already back at those highs. So I'm in AMD as well. Basically, it gave you the range short here. My price is Larry Bird. Actually, it's literally in between. It's 32.5. But it doesn't round.
There are half numbers in the NBA, yeah.
There's no half numbers in the NBA. Although, you know, also simple basic strategy would suggest that you should always foul in that situation, but I've already said enough about that.
Here we go.
So I want 144 into the downside on AMD. Let's see if we can take it. Again, nothing crazy,
baby.
but we're just trading inside of the range. We're about a buck in the money on AMD. Liked it at VWAP. It's right back in for us.
Let's go. Yes, sir. All right. I mean, that was a great short. I mean, we're just going to go back into the well, man. We've already said this. We tweeted this out earlier. Long AMD cash, short AMD $3-4, short AMD again, man. We're staying right where we belong, man. We found our home, and it's right here on Trader TV Live as we continue to go downside. Good trading on the TQs. Look at this on the TQs. Look at that fill that we just got, baby. It's not only that, it's a reloaded position. We spray with that AK. There it is. I mean, look at this. All the way down to 52 right there. 52.50 once, 52.50 twice, 52 twice. Nice trade there on the downside. AMD starting to go. We've already got a little bit out right now. There is some more talk right now. So as soon as we get anything, it is Brendo to the rescue. But for right now, we're all good right now. But Brendan is ready.
Just quick update, guys. There's nothing we haven't heard before. He did mention that gaining confidence that inflation is moving towards 2% will take longer than anticipated. That was really the only kind of hawkish note, but here goes the market back to the upside right now. But yeah, nothing we haven't heard before yet.
Like, again, we don't expect anything crazy, and they have to be hawkish. I don't think there's any way around. They don't have to do anything except for, you know, get old and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. I think we'll go back to anything under VWAP, which I think that puts a few other names in play as well. I thought maybe Apple was going to sneak underneath. It's holding higher. You're going to have to throw out Meta. The dip buy still feels good. Like, Meta won't drop. And if it's this strong, like, I want to put the 39 on there. But I feel like if you get to 39, you might not like it. You want something to be making higher lows if it's trending to the upside. So before I thought 39, now I'm starting to think if it can bounce off the 440 level, it'll be a little bit more reasonable. Bitcoin as well is looking a little bit bullish. I had BTC on my, we had IBIT on our minds there. I was about to pull up the actual BTC, but we can't short that. VWAP looking strong. It's actually trying to break out here. So I'm thinking this looks strong in addition to Meta, trending to the upside. I'll look for some dip buys. I mean, it's going to make a run at 60,000 if we get super bullish, but I just reloaded AMD, so we have to go back over to that. But add Bitcoin to some things that are bullish with Powell talking here.
Yeah, Bitcoin's really strange, huh? I just 140. So, you know, we have to expect volatility, right? So, I don't know. I mean, Q&A?
What was that?
Oh, they're done. Yeah, okay, they're on the Q&A. Yeah, perfect. So, as Powell's on the Q&A, this is the kind of volatility that we do expect, right? Because now he's starting to answer questions that are off script. So people are going to try to get him to talk about monetary policy and what they're looking at, obviously, and what some of these targets are all about. So let's just wait to see what's happening. AMD is right at that level, so watch out for that 146.
Right at VWAP.
Yeah, possible breaking right at VWAP. We're short at 65s on AMD. Our P&L number one today is now AMD, so we'll stay with it, but there it goes, breaking 146.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to take out that top any second now. A couple of shekels more, and it's going to have to stop out. I reloaded it, which might end up being a mistake. We'll definitely see. There it goes. I just took it out. I reloaded it, so I'm going to slap the L on AMD. Much better earlier than late. You're now stair-stepping it upside. I tried to grab some Bitcoin, IBIT, I should say, because we don't trade directly. Just in here off of 33. I think this looks bullish.
Hey, yo.
As we're now really starting to pump. Hey, you know what? I wasn't anticipating the pump. I'll take the L going short, but I do not want to fight this trend. I've done it before. The last time, famously, there was a pop, and I was like, the firm is a piece of you know what? And I was shorting. It's like every single long was tempered by the fact that I would just continue to get into a firm short. It was like I had 4 longs that all won, and I just kept shorting a firm, and it kept on going higher. So I don't want to be fighting this too much. Meta is now absolutely gone through 445.
Yeah, everything's going up.
Well, I mean, it's not enough to just say you don't want to short Meta. I was a little too conservative with the dip buy, and it just didn't get to my price. It stalled at 440 instead of 439. That should have been a distinction without a difference. That's nasty. Yeah, 1 p.m. might have been the right time. Jack Me Nimble in the chat saying to buy Bitcoin. But the way I like to trade it is over the years when the Fed means something, to put the trades on after the fact. I just feel like you're making guesswork, and I'd rather react to it. Win or lose, or draw, I'm going to be down since going short, since the numbers came out. But win, lose, or draw, you just have to trade around your own normal style. And I've never really been I'm getting into position at 2 o'clock kind of guy. Or sorry, 1:30 kind of guy, or 1 o'clock for Fed. It's just never been my thing. USD is slightly moving down. Meta's now at 446. This is getting out of hand. What is he saying?
We told you about Meta.
Meta is
we just had a good winner in AMD, and then all of a sudden it wasn't. Like I'm starting to put some bids here to cover this because oops, that's TQs. Sorry, we're not heavy into TQs, but this AMD is starting to go. Like this was just at 140. Like this wick down here just happened for us, and we were in the money. That just touched 146 and change. What's up, Brendan?
Just said, and I quote, he sees it very unlikely that the next policy rate move will be higher. Again, that's from Powell. Very unlikely that the next policy rate move will be higher.
We really thought they were going to raise rates. Did we really think that? I didn't think that. I don't know. I know. Look, and I understand the good arguments that were made for the possibility of it. Especially, I know Brendan mentioned it on the podcast. I think it might have been.
I mean, that's all you need to know is what's happening on the podcast.
That's a reality, but I'm a little bit skeptical that was ever a high probability, because like you can just leave rates where they are for longer and sometimes accomplish the same thing. Like inactivity can be activity for them at these levels. So I don't think that's.
Man, we got really close to these levels, though.
Speaking of levels, if you thought that Intel was going to $31 today, then you're not me. But I am going to fade 31 on Intel because that was the level yesterday at exactly this time where it was the fade play. So I was shorting it at 30.30 and it broke out. Now I'm shorting it at the 31 level. Usually you get whipsaw action, to be honest with you, but I want that whipsaw down. We should have had a long on Meta, like I said. I missed it. Put that on me. If you went long 440 instead of 439, that's all the difference in the world. 448. Meta's going to hit 450 in a matter of minutes. I can't buy a top on a Fed day. And like I said, if you were waiting for a post-earning dip buy on Meta, sorry, that was it.
If you're waiting for AMD to go down, this may be your opportunity, because we're just getting out of some of this because we just went short 147 again right there, and just took some out for 50 cents. So, you know, we've given some back. We still are up. We're still up on AMD today, despite what we just did. So we're back in it right now for the short and trying to cover to make a little bit back here off that 147 area. Remember, let me zoom back out of this. We did get stopped out on the high side. No, stop it. That's fine. But I will have it if you're going to give it to me. There it is, a nice move back up to 147. I shorted that. That was that level right there that we took earlier on AMD. So we tried to take advantage of that short right there. All right, TQs just came in as well. I got to address this. We're now short the TQs against the market that's pretty much ripping right now.
Yeah, I was showing a 15-minute chart so you guys could see yesterday on Intel, but this is what it looks like on the 3-minute. Spike up, stall at 93.5, 94, whatever it might be. I'm short 87. That's a huge spike. And obviously, if you guess long correct, great. Probably the trade that you could have is when it sets this range
the other
here.
way.
So I'm out of it. I was in the position. I just would have got right out right before 2 o'clock hit. So I wouldn't have been in this trade anyways. But you could have had something along. If you're bullish, that gives you a long here or a long there to there or a long here to there. But I came in looking like I wanted to fade it. And like I said, the best you can do when you're fading it is sit it out from here to here.
Yeah,
otherwise, you're going to find yourself in a world of hurt. IBIT, I'm just going to cancel my IBIT bids because, you know.
Incoming inflation data.
Yeah, like I'm not getting 33s on IBIT. And if it does, then I need to be patient with that dip buy. So you go for that whipsaw action looking to pick up along, and that's kind of two places where I wanted to have that bid. And a lot of times the volatility will let you get picked up. Like if you throw a bid in there, you don't think you're going to get filled, but like you get enough volatility that you get picked up. I hate like chasing those moves. So I got it on. Back into 30-60 is where I want to take this with some 70s, and I'm going to get a bid out in the 60s. Yeah, I didn't think Powell was going to pump us today. He even heard me say I thought he'd be pretty hawkish in his comments. So sometimes you anticipate a bit too much, but just make sure you trade with stops, everybody. That's what it's all about. SoFi squeeze? Oh, I hope so. I just saw in the chat SoFi squeeze. I'm like, yeah, it could use a squeeze. I mean, this needs more than a
Everything
squeeze.
could get down.
Like this thing needs a boa constrictor bear hug at this particular point. SoFi shareholder right here in my long-term account. Just so you know.
Yeah, it's been a tricky one for sure. All right, so AMD still, again, like, it's just been like just one of those days, man, where you've had to have been as patient as you possibly can with all of this. And just now here's another, I'm hearing in my ear again. We'll probably throw to Brendan in a couple seconds as there's another answer to some sort of a question on inflation again. So, we did get hit on that TQ position, but let's just get some more back in. We wanted to wait for 54. It did blow us out there, so that was bad. We will go red on the TQs, but again, trying to hold on to some of these so that we can have a bigger windfall because we want to get short on this event. I don't think anything different's been said. So I feel like we want to go there. And then the reason why I'm sort of going short, if you look at a longer time here, this is what we're sort of talking about. I still think this 17.8 is something. We went over there just for a minute, fell back in. Once we broke it this time, it wasn't even considered to come back. We first went down 700 points, then made it back, touched it, and dropped again. So for me, yeah, man, I mean, I'd like to see this happening. And there it goes right now. Come on, baby. This is what we're talking about. Thank you, Mr. Powell. Nice move to the downside for the TQQs. Hallelujah. Now it doesn't look so bad as we start to go back into the downside and we go back into Greensville, as we said, on Advanced Micro Devices temporarily, as these stocks can either be up or down $1 by the time you blink. So there it is. We do get that fill down there. Props that up. Ooh, man, we're getting a little spicy now in this market. P&L wild right now. I'll leave it at that. AMD now $1 in the money. TQ's now 40 cents, but we've taken hits on both those since this number came out, so we'll have to wait on this.
Yeah, if Intel moves $1, I'll wear like one of those tight-up sweaters that Shay wears. It's not going to happen. Intel's not moving $1, but it is moving.
It's only moving $1 down.
No, it did move 2% to the upside. It's a $30 stock. It's not going to. Like moving full dollar, you're going to move 3% and change when the range is not even that on the day. But it did just come back in. Was able to take some out. Now I want to reload it in front of that 31 even. Feeling a little bit more calm about that push up because we had to pick a spot to go short. Holy crap, Meta. Okay, Meta.
Oh, we knew we wanted that long too.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, you just can't. I just can't chase it. Can't do it. You can't do it. Can't do it. Like, where's the out here if you're chasing the top on Meta? What about NVIDIA? NVIDIA's trying to punch back through 850. I don't like that NVIDIA's back underneath the 850 level. So, it would have to pull, like VWAP would be something, but then you've almost fallen too far. Get back above 850 NVIDIA, and I think I could get a little bit bullish on that stock. But yeah, we waited for Intel to get to 33. There's just no chance I thought it was going to get there. I mean, it's not zero because I don't think in certainties. But when I looked over and realized that stock was at the even dollar level, I was like, you got to be kidding me. Tesla is very strong as well. Let's not forget Tesla. This could be a little something because you know what? It's not that far from previous highs. So opening range top 184, that's not chasing. You're only $1 away. So 184 gives you a reasonable range on a dip. You dip, bounce off 84, give me a long bouncing off of that, as long as it can hold one time. That's all I need to see.
One time. I know there's a lot of people talking right now about different stocks for me to look at. I won't be looking at any different
SMCI?
stocks. It's only because like I want to focus on the futures right now. I mean, I could short whatever, but for right now, there's really nothing for me to do other than sit here on the TQs. I just bid again at 80 here. If we could take 30 cents, that would be fine for me. Let's see if we do continue to push down. We did get some more out of AMD right here as well. So there it is, man. We just got our best fill on this is 146.20, but now we're coming back in again. So hopefully this will hit us back into the downside. Let's see what happens right now on this play. So AMD short, TQ short. This could get blown out. If we take out the high, then we're gone on this one. 54.30 again for the TQs. This was my #1 stock last month, but again, we should be probably switching. Do not the short anymore, although we were bearish. Let me just try to hold out until he's gone. That's,
Dollar down.
if I get stopped out now, I will wait and get way more aggressive when he's off the stage.
So this is the thing, like I'm not even looking for, like, a lot of times I'll be like, okay, well, what else is weak if I'm thinking fade? But, you know, the 10 years at the bottom here at 458, the USD's down as well. So there's enough here that I want to find something long. And now all of a sudden when I want Tesla, it's not even giving you any kind of a dip. Let's get a zoom out here because the problem, you need to break through 186. Like I'm not going long into overhead resistance. Like you zoom it out and 50 cents higher is yesterday's afternoon top on Tesla. So if I'm not gonna short it, I'm certainly not going long that top because that doesn't even make any sense. Either it punches through or gives a dip buy. But I only want, if it's this strong, I wanna be looking for longs in a general sense. Intel, again, they're different. They didn't have a good quarter, and the daily chart looks like this. So that is the reason why. The trend is your friend to the end when it bends, and if it bends from here, then count me incorrect, because I also said that Intel was on a one-way collision course to $25 after that report. So this is the low, I'm wrong there.
Yeah. Okay, just getting more in our ear about Powell, but it's kind of just the same old talk here. They're not. We just covered more of the TQs. Like we got short again here at 54.12 into that high of the day as we talked about. So substantial lags in data. So, I mean, it's kind of the same thing. Remember when they had that hotter than expected jobs number and they talked about seasonality? That was like one of the first times that we heard them talk about that. And it sounds like he's kind of doing that again to some extent here. So, you know, we'll wait to see. They're talking about interest rates is an active tool. We already know that. Anyways, just going on and on. We'll cut to Brendan if anything happens.
What? Interest rates are an active tool?
Yeah. I just typed in yes there. I saw someone say SoFi, yes.
Oh.
Wow, okay, back up to
That's
7.
how they influence things. Interesting strategy.
Yeah, it is an interesting strategy. The Fed always seems to be late on something. 66 yesterday, $6.60 coming through there for SoFi. What a nice day today. I would think that this could be like a multiple day run here, especially if we take this out. 720 right there, that's not bad. So that's kind of where we couldn't get going on the, watching out for AMD where we just got some more shares. But I was thinking about this 72.20 area right there for a level. Get past that bad SoFi day, get past the high of the day of that day, then we can make a move back up for SoFi. So I'm not gonna get too excited, but yeah, that's very close to happening. We could get that today. I'd like to see it close above 720 before we start stamping SoFi for the long, but congratulations if you hit that. Nice little recovery day there for SoFi.
I'm going to take the opposite approach and just get excited on SoFi even though it hasn't gone anywhere because I've needed reasons to be excited about SoFi. You're back above $7. I'm not going to do any backflips because I'd probably break my back trying. But you make a post earnings low and you make a higher low. If it holds the higher low, then I'm looking long off the higher low because I like that. It's just such a huge move to the downside that I like the potential of the other way. Let's just go with that. But you still see the strength in the market.
Ripping.
Like, come on, Tesla. I'm so accustomed to once you get inside of a range on a Fed day that you actually get both sides of it. Like Tesla comes up into here to the 85, and I'm expecting it's gonna do this nice little dance, like down 70, 80 cents, go long the dips, and then back up, but it's just holding so strong up at the top, and I don't like how tight it is to yesterday's resistance level. Greg Newman saying, what about Upstart? I would imagine things like this are on the jump. But what about Carvana would be more interesting? They're going to be reporting after market tonight. And you're talking about a squeeze name. Upstart 7.5%. That is impressive. You won't see me fading that one.
No.
Wow, Carvana
What's up?
is up another 7 as well. So 7% going into earnings, right back into 52-week highs. Oh, Vana. And the thing about Carvana too, and don't get me wrong, like I know Upstart's a big one, but Carvana, 30% short float. The you know what hits the fan one way or another tonight, because there's shorts that are going to be either screwed or there's anybody that bought the top, and the risk could be like 15% on this bad boy. We'll give you guys, it's not even 3 o'clock yet, but we'll talk about this in the aftermarket show. I'll be stepping in for Sean so we can do some coaching of the baseball team in there. We're going to have the Fibonacci Princess. Carvana's on tap. I don't think I want to trade this because everything about me sees 90 and is thinking fade. And I feel like that's way too silly to just shoot for a short. I didn't pay for shorts anyways. Why is everyone putting Getter in there in the chat? Oh, because it moved 2 cents.
It's the same guy. It's not everybody. It's some guy.
No, I know. I see a few people. Okay, you know what? It's the same person putting.
Get that blocked.
Same person putting it in.
All right. So basically, the TQs, it's still up here at the highs. We said we'll hold on to a piece. We got out of half up there when it took it out. We basically, our last reload was pretty much I'll flush it, but it's not, we haven't done anything on it. Like we got out there at 54. That last reload is a 54.10. We just got out of half at 54.30. And then we were also cashing out down here as well, down at 54 flat. So there's 2 at 54 flat. There's another one at 53.90. That's 40 cents. And then there's 20-cent hit on our last reload. Plus we also had this reload. We only lost when we got stopped out at 54, but still not a stop out that we like. There it goes. I can't just keep on going. I'm going to wait. We still have a piece on as it's coming back in. So hallelujah for that one. But it's really this one that's starting to work for us now, as look at that reload on AMD to the top side and then out again. So like we just made 70 cents on AMD right there. Like it's just moving that aggressive. Like I'm looking down, I'm like, where are these fills coming in? The net is kind of like fluctuating a little more quicker than normal here, but we've lowered our shares. So that's the one thing that we're going to tell everybody. Like, we're not swinging this like this was 9:30 or 9:45 on a day where we're pretty confident with the direction. Right now,
you also can hold it all day long at 9:30.
Well,
here, we're out at
never.
4 o'clock. When you're day trading, your day's done. So there's a limited amount of time for it to move.
But I mean, most of the time, like right now with an hour left, like time is not for me of the essence right now. But at the same time, like you're right. Once the market makes a direction, it's hard to stand in front of it.
Wow, we're still...
So market's still going up. I just have to wait. If I can be patient, this could be good. Yeah, I know Frank Jones. I know Kyle. You guys don't want me to give up on the short. I understand that. But I got to protect my neck at some point as well, right? So we could be wrong. Nothing wrong with being wrong. I know it's maybe few and far between, thank God, but...
It's okay to be wrong. It's not okay to stay wrong. That's the way I look at it in trading. You're never right 100% of the time in trading. And if you are, I said it from the beginning, if you're right 100% of the time, then you're cheating or an algorithm that is loosely cheating, potentially. But that's the reality. SMCI, it's tempting. This is SSR. And so the thing about anyone, you see a level like that, you're like, oh, but couldn't you just short 770 and put a really tight stop up here? You could, but it's short sell restricted, which means it's very squeezable to the upside here. Like Intel's stable in a way that if it breaks out, I'm getting slipped by a cent or two. If this does break out, you could get slipped by a few dollars at a time on SMCI. Obviously, the long earlier would have been good, but again, I did my thing for an SSR bounce, and it would have been perfect at $700, but I didn't have it. Got to acknowledge that. Tesla does not seem to want to go anymore. The market's still at the top, and Tesla's coming down some. So it's not usually what you want to see out of a bullish stock. Like a Meta, on the other hand, is going right up to the 450 level. Instead, Tesla's dropping a little bit here. So I don't want to be dip buying something that's going down while the market goes up. That's not making any sense. What is going on over there?
Exactly. I'm just gonna hold back my comment for all this because like I don't want to like downplay like what traders should be doing and not be doing. But all right, so there we go. I know you're shooting TikToks. That's amazing. All right, so here we go. Nice downside move for nothing right now because everything is upside. We are almost. And exactly what you guys were talking about there, Kyle and everybody else. You see, there we go. So now we're stopped out. There goes 148. You don't need to, it's the first of the month. You can be off on what's been happening, and that's apparently what we are, but we're fine. I just want to wait for this guy to get gone, you know. We had AMD, that was a really, really top trade, but we're going to have to wait now for 148 to settle down and then get back in. Too many shorts in there into this market that's now up 1.1%. It's so crazy because I was like, oh, Meta, we'll take 446 break or 444 break, I guess it was. There it goes, straight up there, up to 450, looking like it wants to go. No more fading anything. I mean, we're just going to wait for this right now. Hands off. SMH is starting to go as well. This could be better than AMD. Remember, AMD also had the report today. So that's like AMD's already at 149. Like you want to talk about, honestly, I will just do this. We could have had, like if we don't have that stop there, like then there's money coming out of that wheelbarrow like you don't even know. So we had to get stopped out right there. And there it is, man, in and out of that one as we start to fight the short, which was not good.
I just looked at Amazon. I'm like, thank goodness. I mean, sometimes the best trade you make is the one that you don't make or the one that you get out of. Right? Like that's pretty, again, obviously long is better. I get all that good stuff, but thank goodness. But that is absolutely ridiculous to that upside. NVIDIA is going to take 860 any second now. It's back above the 850 level. Breakout, breakout, breakout. If it was 930, I'd probably take this break. Look, if it double tops 860, that's a little bit better. But it already gave you the break here at 855. So I can draw a line because I like that level this morning. But realistically, you know, it showed you that 855 was the breakout price. So I'm not going to take the next break on that name. Tesla's probably available still off of 184. So I'll just go into that one. Clearly, Powell's got us to go into the upside here. Bitcoin's also gone. Intel's at 98. 99, now at 31, so it looks like that's going to take it out. A couple of pennies above that one of the even dollar, and we'll have to get out of that last short. And we were patient with that as well. That's the crazy thing. So I'm just going to get my order out on
scale of like 1 to 10. That was like a 2.
On Tesla here, and see if we can't get picked up on the way. But Intel just came out of there. At the end of the day, it doesn't seem like it's huge on some stocks. Like that's still inside of yesterday's range.
That white skin, no.
But you look at like Intel, like that tripled the range today. I waited for the top, got patient, I got one leg out, and then it's still going to the upside. So we're going to have to back off of that one. What's going on? I don't even know what's going on there.
No, Dara almost died over there, and I was just like,
from what?
Honestly, I'm white.
I'll eat it.
And I was just talking about, hey, I'm Sean. That was like a 2 out of 10, the spiciness of those.
I've known you since we were in high school.
What would you rate that out of 10?
You're white?
Narrows.
When the fuck? When did this?
I know.
What?
Oh my God.
I tried to get different things, but yeah.
We're playing on basketball together.
I know. I know. You would think that I wasn't. And there's a lot of other reasons. But no, I was going to say that wasn't that spicy.
You're talking about the habanero. No, it wasn't that spicy.
Adara was losing it. I was like, nah. Like that is like
spicy.
that. Very spicy. This is what happens when you're from Winnipeg. Just Google Winnipeg, and then you will figure out what different spice levels associated with Winnipeg.
I've never been to Winnipeg.
You've never been to Winnipeg? I guarantee you will never, ever be to Winnipeg.
Have you been to Winnipeg?
I've never been to Winnipeg.
Okay. Well, I mean, don't guarantee me I'll never be to Winnipeg.
I'll pretty much guarantee you'll never be to Winnipeg.
No, actually,
I'm willing to bet it.
This
is not insulting to Winnipeg.
No, but
why are you going to Winnipeg?
Because the next full eclipse, or whatever the eclipse is in 20 years, and I think the best place to see it is somewhere in the prairies in Canada.
Okay, but it will not be Winnipeg, is what I'm saying.
I don't know if it is Winnipeg. I've already promised my dad. If my dad is still around, I've made him a promise that we're going to see it together. He'll be. Man. I mean, it's just one of those things. So I could be in Winnipeg, man.
Yeah, you could be.
I could go to Winnipeg.
There is no doubt that in
Winnipeg
20 years, on a random eclipse, you may find yourself in Winnipeg.
If the best place to see the eclipse is Winnipeg, then I'll go to Winnipeg.
Yeah.
Another reason.
For sure.
Why else would I go there?
Exactly. So, all right.
They still have a hockey team?
Yeah, they still have a hockey team, but you don't watch hockey.
No.
Okay, so they
No,
cross
I
that
don't.
off the list. All right. So let's
I
go.
watch the league.
All right, so there goes the TQs to the downside again.
I hate you.
We're just thinking, he's still on, right? Yeah, so
All right.
waiting for him to come off so that I can eventually just start to take some of this out. I'm going to put another bid here at 34, take something out right now. There it is, another out there at 34. Let's just wind up seeing what happens here. We're nicely in the money. We could go back. I mean, if this gets back into the 50 period, which is all the way down here, kind of where we started this mess, then we'll be up on the stock. So let's just give it a rest a little bit. We let AMD cook, and we did not do, like, if the market was open, the market's open, but if the market was regular trading right now, this short right there, that is what we would have been all over that. Wick high into a raging market. We tried that here at 147, 148, got stopped out, and then boom, goes the damn dynamite. But we are dynamiting it up right now as well, as here come the TQs. Let's see if we eventually get a bottom pick here on this name, but I think we could get a little lower here on the TQs, trying to get back into that level. Let's see if we can turn this trade into something special. Down to 53. Let's put a bid at 75, see if we can get that. I don't know, but it could flush.
Yeah, I just went back to the well because I actually was the top wick on Intel at 3102, and it came instantly back underneath 31. So it wicked it out. I get back in at 95, so you give that up. I mean, you could get 99s if you're a little faster, but I wanted to see an offer under there. But then the same thing, at the same moment, I was getting that fill. I'm like, oh, there came Tesla in there, and I was still bidding. So the first thing I did is immediately jump out of a bunch of it because remember what the plan, I remember saying it's always an execution plan. Let it bounce off 184, then get in. Did I actually do that? No. I caught it on the way down. Thankfully, I was able to take some out right away. I'm like, that's not the execution plan. I wanted to see it bounce first and then go long, be a little bit more cautious. Now it's starting to bounce. So even if it goes higher, I defend if you break a rule or you do something, get in a little bit too early and you want to wait for confirmation to have it on, then just take some out flat. If you have that chance to do so, then you lighten the load. But the plan was to watch it bounce first. I can try to get a better price as well. My stop's in on it, but as that's starting to go back to the upside, I want to manage the short because the shorts haven't been right. I just got some back out there, 90s, even low 80s on Intel. I still think if we really do break down from here, I think you break 80 and then wear this candle. This will be, here you go. So the big volume candle in here, that was a breakout at 3060. So the point at which everything accelerated to the upside, Intel accelerated from 3060. On the way back in, that's where I look to terminate the trade. That's where I want to take my profit. Trend is still to the upside. Even if it looks like we've made a top here, it ain't over till it's over. It's only 307. We've seen Powell carry this into the imbalances before. So I don't want to just assume.
No, I don't think so. Really?
No, not him talking. I'm talking about
the move.
Let me be more precise about that. We've seen the move post Powell get carried into the imbalances at 350. He's not. If he talks till 350, that's ridiculous. He doesn't do that. He'll be done usually about before 3:30.
In change. We do have a new position on. I found this NASDAQ pen in a boardroom. It says NASDAQ 100 on it. So I figure, like, since I'm trading the Qs all of the time, it's impossible to see. It says NASDAQ 100, symbol QQQ. Right on here. So we'll watch that. We got that pen in here for good and or bad luck as we continue to short the Qs. But new position was Apple, and that's what we're talking about right here. So I said we look, we wrote it down on the sticky note that we liked 172. This one went right through 172 on some of that movement, but now it's having a hard time getting through yesterday's close at 172.60. So, hey, again, definitely going counter here. Oh, there goes the market again. So we're trying to do this. We're going to be shorting Apple. We are short now Apple at 42. Let's see if we can get back into the downside. We'll put a bid in the 30s. We'll put a bid in the 20s. And then we'll put a bid in the teens just for a little bit and see if we can get some out. And then if we do start to get, I mean, again, this is what happens. He's talking right now. I hear it in my ear. And, you know, you get little market gyrations, let's put it that way, like up and down, figuring itself out. So these are days where you're either you can make big, lose big, or kind of do nothing. So, you know, we've lost trying to go short into this, but I would like to put on bigger positions. I just like to see no more questions and then just let the market do what it's going to do and not make these moves, because like here I am short and I don't want to put on 1,000 shares or something like that of Apple because we're not at the level, you know, like we're at a level, we have uncertainty in direction now.
I think the smash spot had to be long early. So if, like I defended, like I was looking to fade first.
I still want to go short.
If you were looking to fade first, then there's just never been a smash spot. Because if you were looking to long first, then I would say, like, if your first inclination was you wanted to be long in this, then there was a chance to go ham. And the only place I think maybe that could have happened would have been Meta. But as I said, I was probably never getting anything that's set up for me. You know, I know how I'm trying to trade, and I just don't see, like, when this happened, there was nothing in here that I could get. So I probably was never grabbing that one. Oh, come on, Intel. You get one fill. Like, it goes one step down and then just hangs out. Like, it makes a top, goes one step down, gets short on the way back in, one step down, and then a little bit higher. Tesla, I'm going to take high of the day here because if it gets into 86 again, that is overhead resistance from yesterday. So I consider that a bit of a top, so I want to play this into yesterday's high. It's not yesterday's high. Yesterday's afternoon high is about 186. I keep saying yesterday's high, but it was at 191 at the open. But at about noon, 86 was the top, and it triple topped it. And the same thing again today.
I'm getting like, I'm just getting
Hungry?
hungry. No, those wings were good. Like, I'm good.
I hope you.
I'm not even really. I wasn't even really that hungry. I mean, we have that salad.
Well,
that was just fun to do. Wing Wednesday.
No, my problem is that I look over. Sean's to my left, but there's also like a chicken wing just sitting on the desk over there.
That's Adara's habanero that she cannot.
So you're not going to eat that?
I cut it with a.
You said
So you basically had one little small bite of that,
Come on.
And I'm out. Yeah.
and you're done.
No, that's fine. I'll eat it. That's fine.
Oh no, yeah, no, get it to use. I thought we were tapping on a bigger portion there, but okay. Here we go. All right, we did take a piece out on the NASDAQ. I mean, we're still 30 cents in the money. We did take that piece out there at for 26 cents. Now it's 30 cents, starting to go a little lower here. Let's see if we can cook, Dalvin Cook style, down to the downside there. Has he signed yet? No, he has not.
He's got no team.
Okay, so Apple is the one right now. We're short at 42. I was bidding mid-30s. It doesn't look like we even want to go. Okay, we just got to, no, we did not. We got to fill in something else. We got to fill in the TQs, I believe, yes. Okay, so that came right down there. So these are good trades. So now we're starting to feel better about the short, but I still don't feel that good. Like, as long as Powell's there, I am not feeling as short as, we are.
Paula
Definitely
in the chat,
overshort.
Apple short into earnings, question mark. Apple reports tomorrow after the bell. So if you're holding it overnight, good on you. In my personal account, I don't make trades going into earnings. I'll buy a stock if I really like it, or I'll sell a stock if I want to get out some before earnings, but it has nothing to do with the actual report. But they don't report till tomorrow. Carvana, DoorDash are the big ones. You've got Qualcomm tonight. So by the way, Qualcomm, obviously, that's going to move around and affect Apple a little bit. So you can get some sympathy there. And another step down in the second. This is what's happening on Intel. It rejects 31. We get back in after taking an L. Come to the chart for a second, Ram. That was delicious, by the way, and it's not that spicy.
Forgot to say chart.
Got 95. It goes to 90 and bounces. It goes to 80 and bounces. The second you get a bid, this stock is bouncing. And that looks like a bull flag to me. But it's still at a big resistance level, so I want to respect it. I'm not buying this stock at any highs for at least, I don't want to say how long, but it's got to make some power moves on the daily chart before I think Intel is a stock you can be buying on any kind of an upward trend. So as long as it's under 31, we'll keep trying it. Tesla is really starting to stall out here. Now it's doing exactly the same dance. If it breaks a 185 and puts like a 15, 20 on the bid, I'll probably trail it. You're starting to get really sleepy in the markets right now. Except for Meta, by the way.
Meta's good.
Meta wants 4. You know what the high is on Meta right now? 449.96. So, yeah, about Meta, Meta's winning today. Meta wins today. Good for them.
Yeah, Meta's been, and of course Meta wins the day. We've been talking about buying that one up, and we haven't been able to step into that one. We did dump it at 485 and haven't had a chance to buy it back up. And remember when I said to you guys, Meta's going to come in and it's going to be 470? That's just going to be tomorrow. So missed opportunity in buying up some Meta, but so far so good for the day on that one. All right, we have not been able to get out of Apple. It's just kind of triggering higher and higher and higher. So we just now, I'm not going to trigger out at this level. I'm trying to wait out. We talked about this. So I'm just going to let it sort of float upside. And then if there's a big move down, we'll see if he's gone. And then we'll see if we can add to it at some level up here. And maybe we'll be lucky enough to punch short. And that's kind of what I'm waiting for. I'm not going to sit here and stare at this. Let it just work. I have some targets down here. If we're able to take those out, great. And then get back to the 50 period. And then I think Apple falls. I like the stock into earnings. I know you guys just mentioned that. I'm not afraid of the earnings. If anything, I saw Starbucks today take a hit in China. We've talked about how the iPhone maker is no longer top dog in China, and it's number 3 position right now in units sold. So I'm not sure. I know that there's going to be the Let's See event or whatever, Let Loose event, and we also have WWDC coming. So there's lots of levers that they're going to pull. It's just I don't think they're there yet. I could see a bad quarter, not a bad quarter, but one that's not as great as maybe expected. And I'm long. I bought this name just a couple weeks ago at 169.75 or something. Let it go all the way to 175, or sorry, 178 right there before. Who is that? Like a broke down Mark Zuckerberg talking right now? Who is that? I can barely see that in my. Okay, so
we're interesting mustache.
All right, 172, 172.40. Just waiting for the Qs, man. That's Apple, sorry. Waiting for Apple to come back down, plus the TQs as well, trying to get back in again. So
if Intel breaks $50 before the end of the year, I'll try to grow a mustache like that. That's a horrible mustache, the guy asking that question.
Look at
but you know what? Actually, there was someone in the chat saying Intel stole Neil's lunch money in the 3rd grade. I own Intel share. We usually try to say this. Why is my chart not going? I want to show a weekly chart here for a quick little second, and it's not loading on Trade Ideas. Oh, just a little bit slower. There we go. So I own this at an average price of $27.50. It's like 40 something, but let's just call it 50. Most of the buying down in there, I had some called out, and then I sold some when it failed to $50, like 49 or something. But I still own like 40% of the original position. So I'm not I'm sitting here saying all that stuff. All I've done is I want to own this for the Foundry play. But everything just keeps telling me that I cannot be adding back into this to get a full position. I was thinking about the end of the year. I'm not even thinking about this year anymore. I'm actually thinking this could just be next year because they've told you 2027. So anyways,
I guess the
why am I bagging?
Why not sell it? Like, why didn't you get out more at the top? You never know. That's like, how do you know where it's going to go?
Yeah, I could have sold 80%, but my intention was to hold this thing for at least 5 to 10 years. So I didn't want to get out of all of it. That's not really the way I play, and I didn't know hindsight being 20/20. But all that said, like the chart. Look at the chart on the weekly. Like what? So I own this and probably could have sold more. But am I going to sit here and be like, this stock is a long because I happen to own it? Does it look like a long? No, this is a weekly chart. There is not a red candle on the weekly chart for the last, month and a half. And they didn't have a good quarter either. Tesla did get to the top of the range. I wish this is crazy. 184.5, 185.40. This is a Fed day. That is the effective range on Tesla for the last 15 minutes. Check that, 20 minutes. For the last 20 minutes, the effective range on Tesla is 75 cents. So that's it. I scalped it out. Obviously, I didn't have to get some out flat there, but you're not moving nearly as much as you would expect. So I feel like pick your spots. Like I said, Intel, we're back into it. Maybe it punches down into this. I thought I had a 60 bid in here, but maybe it punches back down. I'm just looking for the retrace and play. We're in a short that at least the level I like is good, and I don't want to buy anything off of these tops. Maybe we'll get a late day rally. It's about 320 as well. So imbalances are going to hit in 30 minutes. We're going to get some early looks in about 10 to 12. It's the first of the month, and there were gigantic sell imbalances on a few Mag 7 names yesterday. So you might see some decent numbers on the imbalances. Don't freak out. But Amazon and Apple certainly were gigantic sells yesterday. If they were to come out as big imbalances, it wouldn't surprise me too much. I'll have them on the radar. But the earnings names for big cap tech, you're waiting for tomorrow. Today, it's a squeeze earnings night.
Guys, we wrote down on the sticky note 186 for Tesla. The high of the day was 185.90. So instead of going into Apple, we should have shorted this one. Powell's press conference has ended. All right. Wow, that was exciting. No, let's just see what happens now. So we are still in Apple. We're still in the shorts. Here we go. We just covered a little bit on the TQs. It's ended. Let's see if we can get a smash mouth move to the downside right now on this. We haven't sold anything, but it is now concluded. So let's see if the market, if we can get a little bit of a pushback, that's fine. I'm staring at the TQs. Nice move down, but not doing much. Here comes Apple. Let's go, man. Let's get a little lemon peppery with it and see if we can get down to the downside, because here comes that move. Here we go. This is what happens. We talk about it with conviction. We say we're holding these positions. We're talking about that BPI because we said as soon as this man has left the building, then we should start to print. And there it goes right there. And that's exactly what we did. Thank you, Apple. Pretty decent opportunity right there. Just mad at myself that we did not get Tesla up there at 186. It is your sticky note. Trade of the day missed Apple all the way up there. But hey, man, 99 problems. Or sorry, Tesla missed. Apple has now become one of the top P&L names on the show today.
Yeah, that's what it's about. But like, thank goodness we got it.
20 cents in the
That's
money.
the problem with Tesla. Do not watch out for that overnight, or not overnight.
Get down.
That overhead resistance. Thankfully, I just got out of the long. You're like, why would you scalp it for 70 cents? Because of the 86 top. So there was a long opportunity in there. Clearly, the one short that we have on is going to be fine. But you had to get back into it. I had to stop. It broke 31. I'm getting out. But it wicked that top, so we got back out of it. Now we're starting to roll over, and we can get a bigger move. I think at least 1% off the bottom on this one. It looks like we could get a retracement. And remember, when Powell leaves the podium, if you're at the high, leave the podium, pull back. We've seen this the other way before. We've seen the market be at a bottom, leave the podium, bounce. It's really just about a little bit of a mean reversion moment there for those of you that might be tuning in for the first time. If it's your first time ever, hit the like, hit subscribe if you enjoy it. Learning to trade on Fed days is a bit different. Spreads open up. You have to keep your ear to the ground. You want to come in with some good levels, but you don't want to get too stubborn about it and just pick your spots, because you're going to get a little extra volatility. It's like that open volatility that you're going to get on days like today.
Yeah, unbelievable day so far here today. As we've given a little bit back here, obviously, but we cannot be any happier. I mean, when the plan works out, it works out. We were just in it, like we already talked about the mistakes that we made. And it was just waiting. Like we didn't know anything, but we had a feeling that this was going to happen. So Apple was honestly like read like a book. Neil likes to read books. I mean, you could read this chart all day long, baby. That was the most beautiful thing you'll read all day. Hitting this and then boom, it literally happened as it was written. But it was this was the mistake, really, was just trying to short this all the way until eventually we caught that top. We'll still be fine on this. And then AMD, again, the same thing, where we had that top and now it's way under everything that we shorted. But at the end of the day, man, trading is about timing. And we didn't have it there. We did not have great timing. But we have it now. So let's see what can happen into the close right now. See if we can make a little bit of cash and start the month off on the right foot. But we're going to wait, man. There's big earnings tonight. It should be a fun one. Then we have Apple coming through. The TQQs enters right now your dollar club. So there it is. The futures is right there. We've had some requests about futures trading. I told you my number one stock last month was futures, right? It was TQQ, so futures isn't really a stock, but number one traded asset last month, or whatever class you want to call it, trading vehicle, was the NASDAQ 100. So and that's been the first time for me in a hell of a long time that that's been the case. So we're really, really happy to do that. We've told you we've changed up the strategy right there, and we just made a decent part back as now the market potentially bouncing off 17.7.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, make sure you take profit out there, as it's still an overall upward pattern, even though you broke some support, which is exactly what you want to see.
Look at that.
At that high, it's tricky. When you know he's leaving the podium, going long at the highs, you can scalp inside there, but I never want to get rinsed underneath if it breaks down. So I just missed a fill on Intel at 75. I was sitting at 72s, but as I said before, and I can't reiterate this enough, it's okay to be wrong, you just don't want to stay wrong. I was in this all morning underneath 30.30, all morning long, and then it just broke the heck out. So you got to wait for another level, and that's the best you can do in a situation like that. I was in Amazon. It was the first thing I'm like, okay, if I wanted to fade, I liked Amazon off of VWAP. I was in it. It made that breakout. It's gonzo. It went like $6 to the upside, but I wasn't looking long. So the best you can do is try to limit the hit, and if you do that, I think you can be fine in the long run as well. Get on Amazon. It could get to 186 by end of day. World Collection saying that. Like I said, I don't want to necessarily be buying any tops. I want to get to see SMCI. I know there's other things you guys are looking at in individual stocks, the earnings play. SMCI ends up calming down a little bit. I know a couple of people were saying they wanted to short this. I gave my explanation why from a risk to reward standpoint. The other thing about SMCI, it has a big spread, and I've never looked at this on a Fed day. I have an idea what I've traded. I don't think I've not traded Intel. The spread's not too different from what it normally would be on a Fed day. SMCI, for all I know, could have a $1.50 spread going to $3, and I'd have no clue. And that's something you don't want to find out once you get into the trade. Oh, I'm in. The spread's 3 times what I expected. Well, that's nice. So you can learn, look at the level 2. It doesn't look too much different from before. Risk to reward, you're still not even then that big of a win, because I think for it to go down $7 or $8 on SMCI, you're probably risking minimum 5 on a Fed play. But it is working back into the downside on that bad boy. DJT, just see some, yeah, no thanks, DJT. I'm not gonna, this is a quadruple top breakout on a key level on a stock that I don't want to be long. And I didn't pay for locates, and I'm not going to pay for locates at 326. It's a good setup on something else. Like if Carvana's set up like this, going into earnings, I actually might like that punch right in here if it could break through 48. But under VWAP, under pressure, yeah, that's going to be a pass for me. It doesn't mean it can't go. It's a squeeze type name.
All right, we will, yes. We will look at Apple one more time. We did get out of the majority of this trade, but now it's come back up to the upside. Like we said, man, we will take advantage of that trade on the TQs and of him leaving the podium and really get out, man. We got out of 75% of Apple, more than that actually, because we just reloaded. I only have 75% now, only 25% now. So I think we got out of maybe 80, 85% down there on Apple when we went to 172. It came right back to our level. So that's why, excuse me, that's why we were happy with that trade. And the TQs as well. We only got out of, so we have about 25% left of what we had on this as well. This fill, I didn't even realize we were there, but we were there. So that was pretty lucky. 53.80 to get out of that one as we held on for dear life on the triple Qs. So yeah, so far so good here. As we go, again, the quad Qs, we'll take triple the risk right there on the movement. Not triple the risk, but on the move. So we'll see if it can go in. I like trading these ETFs. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know. I haven't analyzed it. We just heard the updates from Brendan and all that. So all of you asking if Powell was more hawkish or what, I don't really know. I'm just looking at the market right now, and the market tells me that I'm guessing he was dovish. I mean, it looks like we're starting to go back up to the upside right now, so more positive talk. I thought there was questions about higher for longer, and he said that. We talked about November possibly now being the time for rate cuts. We can check the CME Fed rate tool. I'm sure that's updated now as well. But with only a half hour left, we're going to take a last shot here on Apple. So we've just taken a few shorts here. We're now short at 57s. If we can get filled at 50 and then 45, so on and so forth, and make a little bit of a, there we go, take a piece out there. No, yeah, 50s, 48s, 47s, start to bring it back down. We are starting to make a little bit more money here on the downside, on the reload. So there it is for Kyle and everybody. There's the cannon as it's starting to fire off again as we go short. We're now short Apple's 60s. Our average price was 57. So as we start to get out, our price will change. But there it is. Nice move down here. Let's go. Hydration Nation is in the building as we start to go to the downside right now. We've just made back a hell of a lot of money here in the last half hour, or ever since we slowed down and got that sort of Powell bump away. We've made a lot of money back right now, but still not too happy. I hate what we did on AMD, even though we're down where we are now, 147 and change.
Yeah, you know what? I didn't get a reload chance at all in Intel. It looks like it's just putting in some lower highs. I'm not going to change the plan here. Leaving a 70 bid. That's where we want to grab that fill. If we get down any lower, and it's like 350, I'll probably put a trail in and not give it back up to that high. That would be the adjustment for me. Just not to give it a move back into that top. Don't want to be changing anything. Obviously, when you're thinking short and it just grinds higher like that, don't want to be forcing anything, going up, 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 up over and over again. So I'm just going to stick with what we have in here. I know there's some names you guys want to look at. Tesla, like I said, I had my plan of action for Tesla. Probably could have been a little tighter to 184 on the long, but when I realized that was an impatient entry point there, I instantly took some out and then held the rest for inside of the range, and now you're seeing it fall. Like I said, sometimes the best thing you can do is get away from the stock. You know, like it did not punch through the highs. There was no chance to get an 86 break or anything like that. Now you could be just dropping down into VWAP. So it is what it is, guys. Let me move this to 75. If you're going to show me bid at 75, then I'm going to bid in front of it. Like every single time it's bouncing in the same spot, like a couple times there. So I'm just going to make sure we get some out. I've said the last stop for me is at 360, and then the reason behind it is relatively simple. I try to keep things a little bit simple. I know the initial break after 2 o'clock was here at 340, but on volume after the podium, the big move happened right there at 3060. So if it gets back to 3060, I'll take the 1 point and run on that. The risk was to the local high. I'm not risking 5 cents with a 96 entry because my new stop was to the high of the day. So I'm risking actually 7 or 8 pennies. So at this point, it can't turn into a losing trade, but it doesn't mean I'm going to get aggressive adding into that. The short overall didn't work. Like I said, Amazon, I was short Amazon into VWAP. Didn't fight it. I guess I could have shorted 185 and it would have been fine, but you know, at some point you're going to stop it. Higher highs, higher lows up until like this moment right in there. I did see that Paramount was making some moves. And in the chat, there were a couple of people asking about this. Remember, there's a lot going on with Paramount with the deal or no deal, essentially. Maybe there's going to be a cash portion now as well. So I'm staying away from it because I don't really know the entire structure of what's going to be happening in Paramount. Great move. I understand it's probably a nice bullish stock because you have the very linear move to the upside. That's like algo up. Nothing crazy, not a single candle that's completely ridiculous, but just all green all day. When I see that kind of movement, it tells me two things. One of them is don't fade it, and the other one is anybody long is just chilling. Not many long entry points, but also no reasons for people to be getting out. So I think you got to be really careful with this. Again, I don't know the structure of the deal there. Naresh, you're right. I neglected to mention Etsy also reports tonight. That's another one. Carvana is easily, to me, the most interesting earnings name, but Etsy is going to be in play as well. After Pinterest knocked it out of the park, I think Etsy could get interesting. It's funny how I just said, yes. I was just actually talking about Carvana and then pulled up Carvana instead of Etsy. No, I mean, Carvana, Etsy, as far as I'm concerned, it's just up because of what we saw over there in Pinterest. It wouldn't surprise me if you caught a bit of a bid there, but not one that we usually trade very often. Well, if it moves, we'll let you guys know.
We're not going to it. You guys want to go to Dare? Okay, let's go to Dare. We have a dollar winner. Apple's absolutely tanking. This is an absolute monster. We're in the building. What's up, Adara?
We did something on Paramount after market close yesterday, PARA, basically saying that it's going to reportedly extending conversations with Charter with regards to its contract renewal. Now, why this is interesting is one of the things supposedly holding back that potential deal with Skydance Media and David Ellison was that they were not sure about what was going on with Charter. So the fact that we're extending the conversations with Charter could be a nice move for those looking for that Skydance deal. So that's some context with regards to that PARA move coming yesterday after market close, guys.
70, and we're short Apple right now. We're short Apple at 172.60 right now. I'm just talking to these guys behind us because, you know, we're trying to talk real trading here, not just like waiting for something to happen and then like, you know, talking about, you know, if this happens, then that, or I just missed that trade. We ain't just missing anything. Like, we're sitting here, we're putting on trades. Shout out to Kyle Burdett. This is what real trading's about. You got to test the waters. You got to figure it out. And right there, we said that as soon as this was over with, we had a feeling that this market would retrace back to its home and where it belongs. And honestly, like, we knew that was going to be a bump up there. I mean, to been able to call, this is now $1 in the money. That's what's going on right now as that falls down. But I'm here to tell you that honestly, we talk about being robots and not being robots and being human. I screwed up getting way too short, way too early. There was no need. Why are you going short during a Q&A? It makes no sense. So we waited, and we didn't get anything out. It came all the way, well, we did get some out at the 50 period, but now Apple's coming back in. We wanted the short on Apple. We have the short on Apple. It's printing. It's a good one. Tesla, again, 186 was that level. We had it written down. We don't have it. It's starting to go to the downside. So, like, we've just now, despite definitely making mistakes, have brought it back, and this is what trading's all about. Make the calls and make the calls confidently. You know, there's Apple. We talked about this, whether or not you believed what I thought was going to throw down or not. I said we're going short. We'll see what happens. And there it is, man. This is really made the day. Really happy with this, man. And there's more to come as we, there's a day that starts with Y, and it starts tomorrow. And we're going to be here again and again and again, as Brendan's always going to be here. Shout out to the goat/sheep coming across that screen, because right there goes the TQQs, baby. We are now $1.35 in the money as we props it up as that goes to the downside. Oh, Apple, this one now $1 in the money as there we go. The fake out, breakout, shakeout. We're rocking and rolling. It's Apple time, baby. It's almost time for the Jets.
The Jets?
And also,
well, the better Jets.
The Hyde Park Jets.
Yeah.
In their first exhibition game today, despite subpar coaching, and despite missing one of our best players.
What's up with that?
The lineup has been adjusted, ladies and gentlemen. I don't want to show everybody's name.
No, don't give, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
No, you didn't. You couldn't see, I know you couldn't see it.
My daughter's batting third. And your starting catcher for the Hyde Park Jets, Miss Gia Katina. So, I mean, you're going to get ready. P. Rose? Stink face. We're ready to rock and roll. Apple $1.20 in the money. Neil, I don't know what's going on over there, but what's going on over here is exactly that. We are crushing it with you guys here right now. The amount of money that we've made in the last, we lost money. The amount of money that we've made in the last half hour is what it's about. Good move to the downside. Let's see what happens here. We're just really confident. Good way to end the day. Can't believe what we did earlier, but we're back right now. Apple's a ho-hum, $1.50 in the money. We'll put a piece out. Ms. Adara, I love Winnipeg.
So do I, and this part of the show is brought to you by Trade Ideas. Real-time scanning and alerting used by on our desk by many of our traders every day. You could actually see what's moving in the moment with Trade Ideas. You see it right here with us. You can just check out the link in the description for 20% off. Thank you to Trade Ideas.
There you go. And just one time, one short, one opportunity for me that I liked. We waited for it to get up there. We did stop out on it, but we're back down into the 30-60 level. So, I'm just going to stick to what I see as a decent setup. Sometimes you get your stop run, and the only play is, well, I don't like anything else, and the trade's not invalid. So you got to maybe just jump right back into it. The other play, like I said, the other thing you can do is understand that even if something's working and the market is bullish, you don't have to fight it. So I had one long that worked, one short that worked. It started out with like a couple of shorts that just didn't work. And then after that, you had to wait for it to get to the high of the day. As I said, I think the best thing for me this afternoon was, if I'm bearish, sit it out. Because, sit it out. They finally got to a level and turned off the 31 level. That's what we're able to do in there. So we'll stick with it. Please look at APPN, Naresh. We don't mind looking at new stocks in there, but I'm not going to pretend that I know anything about some of these names that you want us to call up, right? Like when a stock doesn't do any volume and it's not a day trading stock, volume's under 1 million shares, never seen it before, probably not going to trade it. But I mean, obviously it looks pretty decent as a trade, as a trend back in, but everything's falling at this particular point. But you can call up any chart that's falling and say, yeah, you could have shorted this. Well, you have to have an execution plan first as well. And that comes with, like, what's your out? What's your plan for getting into it? And then you can get those profits. That's what we're just trying to give to you guys, right? So I had one short. Sean had one short on Apple. I don't know that stock. It's flushed a buck, and you probably, whatever APPN is, maybe you could have traded it. I just don't know. So I'm gonna get my trail on because it's 340.
Die, let's go market. Hey, look, guys, we talk about this, man. We talk about it. Neil just hit the nail right on the head. Have your plan, have your trade, know what you want to do, and put that darn trade on, baby. This is what's exactly happening. This happens almost every Fed day. Like, we love trading Fed around here, and it's been a lot of volume, a lot of movements, and it's nice when the movements make sense. But yeah, today they're making, like, that just touched the VWAP. Like, I mean, to get all the way back to where this job started, like, that was an amazing push back in for this. Apple, $1.50 in the money. Like, this is the first trade we made all day on this name here, Apple. You know, the first trade we made in the Qs, we knew it was going to be exciting at 2 o'clock, so we flipped over to here, and I hope we're bringing some excitement to your day at least. Anyways, we have to be more than a pretty face. There it is, Apple. We will just take look at that, Phil. 170.90, 170.90 right there, putting $1.80 in our pocket right now to the downside on that. What a recovery day. I mean, it was a recovery day. Now you're recovering back into the downside and turning. Remember about a half hour ago when I was like, what is this thing even doing bullish? We flipped that over to a bear. So that's what we're talking about. I'm glad Neil brought that up. Understand that if you have a feeling and an opinion on what's going to happen, that you put your money where your mouth is. And we just did it too early. We had talked about that. Now we are frozen. By the way.
But you quotes are
so
down.
the only time we had here, it's back.
We're back.
I have to remind everybody, our worst day, we were 14 and 4, something like that, in the month of April, green to red days. And our worst day was when the system froze for 40 minutes or something like that. And it was as the NASDAQ was breaking 1,800 and none of our stops triggered. Our stops are in there right now. And we're ready to rock and roll. It's 340. I'm hoping for a bigger push, but I think we could just start to cover and do one of these. Whoosh! That was okay because we were close right there to taking some L's. But as you know, we're back and we're trading again. 171. Let's put a bid here and take $1.50 on Apple, and then we'll just chill probably.
Let it ride.
We definitely missed Tesla. We missed Tesla. That should have been. I mean, we could have had $3-4 on this one, but again, we wrote it on here, so all we can do is look back at our notes and be like, yep, 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 and yep. So we even talked about shorting DJT through 50. I don't know what that's at right now. Let's go over to Adara.
Talk about some of these S&P 500 names making big moves that we haven't necessarily discussed as much. A lot of these are going to be earnings related, as is apropos for earnings season. The first one here is going to be Johnson & Johnson. J&J, not an earnings name, but did announce that it's reportedly looking to propose a $6.5 billion settlement package to deal with its talc lawsuit. So this one moving to the upside on that news, up over 4%. GRMN, Garmin, trading higher on earnings, including reaffirming its outlook and a slightly higher than expected sales forecast for full year 2024. Last but not least, Estee Lauder to the downside, despite an earnings beat across the board. Very weak guidance. So seeing earnings per share 18 cents to 28 cents for Q4 versus the expected 75 cents. So definitely a bit weaker than expected here, bringing EL to the downside. Lots of earnings names here making massive moves today, guys.
So there was a question in the chat that I just saw. It's like, what made you go short? For myself, like I was already bearish on the stock Intel. I had been shorting it underneath pretty much yesterday's bottom on resistance. Since earnings, it's been a Huadong, so I was short most of the time. I got stopped out. And then this level here, which is day 2, bottom 31, and then afternoon and actually early morning resistance at $31 yesterday. It tagged that level and started to pull back. So I didn't want any longs off the top. I did scalp a win long on Tesla, but that was an inside trade inside of the range, and this was the one that set up. So a stock comes to a level, it could have been something else. I mean, I said maybe I'd even said like a firm could be a short, but I mean, to be honest with you, I said like my last experience, and a firm was a good short at 34. And if you're looking at it, yeah, that came to a resistance level as well. But I haven't traded a firm this week. I have been into Intel. I did like that level. It's easy enough to say I like the level on a firm, but that's not the thing that I was paying attention to. And so you've got to pick one. They're both $30 stocks. A firm dropped a little bit more. Would it have been better? Yes. But did I have a plan to trade it? No. So I'm just going to trade the one that you are ready for, the one that you're going to be able to say, hey, this is where I'm comfortable. I know the way it's trading. And it just has to set up for you. That's all you can do in trading. And then once the chips are in there, the rest is up to it. You ever play poker? Oh, your job in poker is not to win every hand. It's to get your chips in good. When you have the odds in your favor. When the pot odds are good, you put the chips in. And sometimes your aces get cracked, but over the long run, that's the only way to play, because any other way is the sucker's play. So just make sure you trade your strategy out there. It's 345. I'm now trailing this to 65. If it gets down to 50, or actually I think my bid's just underneath 50, I'm going to get out. When the imbalances drop, we'll see if there's anything big. I'm thinking you might have some big cap tech names that are a little spicy after yesterday, but you never know.
Oh, great. So we talked about Square today a little bit. There's just they're just thinking that this is probably overdone. Just hearing it in my ear right now. Somebody coming out and reiterating a buy rating here on Square. Just talking like overdone. Blah blah blah. Down 9% there on a look for crypto. And possibly dealing with some terrorists. That's not going to be a good look for Square.
Not good news.
But it's not great news at all for Square shareholders or anybody involved with Square. Okay, so I'm pretty sure I'm in Square. I have to. Man, I need to do some account.
I know I have some left, but not much.
All right, so 172.60 on Apple. We're still waiting. We are getting greedy, man. We put our greedy hat on. We're going to try to get this lower. We did cover a lot at 171. I have right now, I can't remember, probably about 30% left of this trade. So pretty happy with having that 30%. Let's see, where it comes into play here for Apple. We could take a piece out. It's trying to break above the 200 period right now. But again, with imbalances, we saw it really got cranked yesterday. I'm going to put a stop. Where is imbalances? They're not quite out yet. I'm a little worried about this 172 and/or running this high. So we're capable of giving back now because of, we never want to give back, but because of the money that we've now taken on Apple. Apple number 1 P&L stock, not even close. Amazon number 2 P&L stock. Tesla number 3 for me. And that's about where it stops, because the TQs, as I've told you guys already, I don't have a problem telling you we're red on that. Well, again, if it can get back, we didn't take it out down here. So let's see if that can come back. Apple's doing completely fine for us. We will try to get that reload again as well. Make sure you join Neil with the Fibonacci Princess, Tammy Marshall, coming into the closing recap show, as well as Adara. And then I will be back in the throne on Thursday and Friday. So thanks, Neil, for covering for that one. It'll be a breeze.
I got
It
you.
actually goes really quick, especially when you have such great guests. All right, only 2 minutes to go right now. Let's see what happens as we get down to the downside here today.
Yeah, again, I'm not going to change it. I mean,
Go.
This is not really the time that I usually want to be getting into position anyway. So, it's you hang on to what you got. Square is bad. I think it got 10% down. I should have looked at that for an SSR play, but I didn't. I think that was a bit of a mistake, because usually when you get a report like that, there's going to be an opportunity. Again, I'm not going to trade anything new. I have a trailing stop in here on Intel. So either we get VWAP or we take this one out. Off of a 3065 break. So if we break upside, let's say there's a buy imbalance, you'll just see that position come right out instantly. I don't want to get not going to get too out of pocket on this. We do want to give it a chance to drift a little bit further, but I wouldn't be surprised after this kind of movement if you were to see a bit of a retracement. Like, that's a hefty, breakout, give it all back. If it catches a bid at exactly where things did start out, it wouldn't surprise me. So it's been a nice little run back into the downside. We said once it broke here, we're going to hold. I was bidding 60s, and I pulled it just to trail the same price level. So we got 1 minute till imbalances. I mean, we'll see. The early look was nothing. Like Pfizer's got an imbalance of 1.2 to the buy side, and then TSM early look 1 or 800,000. So nothing sizable that would really concern you. Those are both names that are likely to pair off.
Here we go. Come on, baby. Let's see if we can go to the downside right now. The TQs is $2. We just took Apple out again at this bottom. We're only seconds away from seeing a number here. I put a bid on the TQs at 52.20, like getting real jealous, getting real excited down here of this number here. If we can get going down to 52 and change on this short. Let's see, we're only a couple seconds away from that imbalance. We did take some more out on Apple. I mean, Apple, just like I just said, we'll take another piece out. Now we're holding about 25% of the position into this imbalance number. I'm gonna get rid of all these brokers because who cares? They're gonna get gone now because we are gonna get a public dissemination in 3, in 2, and 1, and let's rock and roll. Okay, Apple is getting to the downside. So nice little move back down in right now for this. Let's see how low we can go. Looks like the TQ is making a downside move. I'm not even on our chat. Now I am. Adara's putting it in the chat right now. 1.3 billion to sell without any NASDAQ names. There's Google with a sell as well. Oops, there's Verizon. Microsoft with a sell as that goes to the downside. Tesla's going to haunt me, but that is okay. We missed that opportunity. And I smile with that right now. Someone was asking what the P&L are. We do not discuss P&L, but we will. We just need to get one more fill, and we'll be back to Greensville. There's 4 green traders here on the floor today, and I'm proud to say one of them is Adara. So right there, shout out to Adara right there. Congratulations. And we'll see if we can, again, get into that level. And we'll see right now. Here it comes. Okay, so coming right back in is the TQQs right now. Let's get a print just a little bit lower and see if we can make this magic happen.
Yeah, I actually just took the out. I didn't see Intel on the list. I thought it would be there. And then I looked. I was able to find 300,000 to the sell side, which is infinitesimal. Tiny sell and bounce. I just took advantage of it. We didn't get VWAP, but again, we took one short trade on that move up, and we had to wait for it to get there. It takes a lot of patience sometimes because you get that FOMO. It's like, but if it turns here, but if it turns here, but if it turns there, and then even had to have a stop out to finally get it in good. If you're watching Tesla, you know what I mean? Like, this is sort of the thing. Like, you can try to fight something, but you get in, you get out, take the money and run. If your stop out is there, which by that time I was out of the position, I promise you I'm out the second it breaks 84. 90s, 80s, like something in that range. Even if I had not gotten profit, there's no way you're gonna you just can't let yourself get ruined trying to hold on to something like that. But it is what it is, man. Like, you got to be able to trade what's out there in front of you. It was built bullish early. Clearly, if you just had that early long, it would have been good. And then you just had to wait for the short. Wait. I can't say that enough. Patience is everything in the trading game because the moves are out there. They're always going to be out there. They'll be there tomorrow. They'll be there in the aftermarket, probably on Carvana. They'll be there tomorrow on Tesla and Intel and NVIDIA and Meta, which probably, let me just realized I haven't looked at Meta to see where that got to. It didn't end up breaking the 450 right back at VWAP. So even Meta, which for my money was the strongest of the big boys today, pulls all the way back into VWAP as well. So it's a matter of what you chose to execute on and how you executed your plan, and that's all you had to do to get that win for the shorts. There's lots of places you could have done it. You just had to have a level you like and a setup you liked as well.
So, you know, I know we don't talk about P&L at all on the show, but what I can tell you is before 3 o'clock, I was last here, and now we are one of 4 traders green. So, I mean, if you want to talk about having sort of the fortitude and the staying power to try to be confident in what you're doing, that was literally in 45 minutes from last, not to first. I'm not going to say who's in first. Unless he wants me to. You can stay in the background. But we have that right now. Nice move today. Congratulations. It hasn't been a super easy trade, but that is what it is right now. So, and again, we're just talking about, all the trades that we've been showing you guys here today. Add those up and you'll be able to figure out what's good. All right, it's 3:53 right now. Proud to tell you that, guys. Like, honestly, I wish I could say we were having a huge day, but we'll be like this, flat. Or is that kind of, we were like that, and now we're kind of like that. In the morning, we were like that, but we did give it back. We were trading selfishly. We talked about that, and I am fine to discuss that. Again, we had fun here today, but we did not trade properly. If we avoided all of that, I mean, obviously, it would be a completely different story. But it was having the confidence in yourself, and I think that's what trading's all about. It doesn't matter what anybody does. It doesn't matter what Neil does, anybody, BPI, Sharif, anybody. It's about what you do at the end of the day. And like I said, no matter what your questions are, what's the P&L, what's this, what's that, you can either trust us or not. But I'm here to tell you, real trading sees real trading, and all of the trades that I have on are displayed to you right here. And I will tell you, with all of those trades added up today, with the share size that I use, it is a green day. So we'll drop down some money right there, but it's not enough. We want to get more. I got to pay some bills. But you know what? On a day where you screwed up and you admitted it, I think that we'll take green on that all day, every day, because we go from last into a spot, like I said, where it's a trophy. So we'll hold on to that. Look at Apple still going down. Let's see what happens here into the very close.
Yeah, that's sort of the thing. Like, you've got to trade your own particular style. I actually admit, I didn't see a single smash spot that wasn't the long off the open. I saw one good short trade, but it was just enough for me to go from red to green on Intel. I was short Intel 3 separate times. The last one's going to end up working, but if you were short multiple times, you just try to get it back. The imbalances did hit 350. So, 355 hit. Nothing gigantic for flips or anything like that. I mean, the PCG, that's that's that energy company. There's nothing there. So it's a bit of a nothing burger. If you're watching, for me, what I'm going to be watching, and I have to get up to the desk in a second because I'm doing the aftermarket show.
Go.
I want to make sure we get things set up. Carvana, I think, is worth a gander. It's up 4%. It just pulled back $4. So I think the volatility is going to be rather nice. I'm not still in Intel, by the way. Let me just do a refresh.
I still am in the TQs.
No, I covered that. That's not real. I'm going to refresh. I know it's not there, but it obviously hasn't. But I'm just going to get set up. I'm going to log out, get over there, because I want to make sure I have everything in the layout set up. We got the Fibonacci Princess. We've got earnings. It's going to be a fun one. And I know if I don't get a chance to say it, I know you guys are going to kick butt in your game.
Look at that, though. Oh, we might lose. We may lose today.
What the hell are you talking about?
But just like when you have confidence in trading.
You guys aren't going to lose.
Well, it's exhibition. We've had.
It's an exhibition. No, as long as you guys, it's an exhibition game. You want to get the reps in. You want to make sure everyone does everything right.
I have random people playing random positions, but
because you wanted to learn. All right, I'll get to the desk. I'll see you guys in a couple of minutes.
Yep. All right. Good luck. Apple is completely tanking in right now as it just continues to make these moves. Man, it is now 3:57. We've been here all day, and we had a lot of fun today. Shout out to Wingstop. Although I'm going to stop talking about them because I feel like we should be getting some kind of a sponsorship out of that as well. But all right, good day there. Look what happened to Apple, by the way, into the close. We just covered at 170.50, basically at the low of the day. And now we are literally at the low of the day, trying to get, not literally, but trying to get to that 169. We nailed that short. I mean, is this not in like what we're here for? Honestly, if you logged in today and took the advices of waiting and getting short, look at this Apple trade. Look at this Apple trade. I mean, I'm going to have to tweet this out. I have to. I mean, that for me, it doesn't get, for me anyways, much better than that. And I know all you guys can see that. So, all right, that is what it is. Anything else? Symmetry is a beautiful thing. That is right. Holy smokes. Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about, but we are now, guys, $3 now in the money. Money. Oh, the Uber receipt just came in. All right, enjoy, guys. We have nice movements here. Remember, it's a red day for the NASDAQ. This is how they fall. We had this chart up for you before. I talked about 17.8, 17.9, has to get through there. Look what the high of the damn day was, 17.8. You cannot trade unless you are confident in what you are doing. This trade here was a confident one. Like I said, man, we'll go from last damn place to be one of the only green ones around here. We will take that every single day. And again, I'm not proud. I'd rather be up a lot. We are not. Part of being honest and part of being true to yourself is being exactly that. I could tell you everything. Some won't, some will. I'm here to tell you about my trading. All right, so here we go. Only 1 minute left. Let's just check out the imbalances. Again, congratulations back there. Good trading. Starbucks still a sell. Apple turns into a buy. We're ready to rock and roll with now only 45 seconds left. There's a mystery man behind that bell. Why isn't Adara there, by the way? I have no idea either. Okay, I prefer Brendan. I don't prefer anybody, I shouldn't say that. We haven't had Brendan yet, so that's why we like him. Oh, I just ruined who's up there. Brendan, focus. Ever since the podcast, this guy's got a little unhinged. All right, here we go. With only 19 seconds left now, Brendo. Move over. They can't even see your handsome face. More. All right, here we go with only 10. Oh, shoot, countdown is now on. Here we go with only 10 seconds left. It's Mr. Brendan Wickens. He is here. You know him and you love him. And it is 4, 3, 2, and 1. Ring it now, my guy. And that is that. Yes, more, Brendan, more. All right, here we go. We are still in the TQQs, but we're going to get a fill right now. $3 in the money. There it goes. It's a nice fill. Let's go back over to the desk. It is time for the close, and that is how you trade the close. I'm Trader TV Sean. That's Trader TV Brendan Wickens. It's Trader TV Neil. It's Adara. We're here tomorrow. Thank you for watching. I ain't going anywhere. Ciao.
Welcome, it's your aftermarket show here.
We did it.
I am not Sean Katina unless something drastic has changed. I don't know what's up there. There you go. What's up? We're going to be getting some earnings coming through here right away. We're expecting Carvana, we're expecting Etsy, we're expecting Qualcomm, and we're expecting DoorDash are the big ones aftermarket before we tee it up. There's a lot to get into because the markets did so much. And then, of course, we had Fed as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited to have this discussion. We're waiting for Qualcomm coming right at 4. Just checking the times on everything here. We get Qualcomm at 4, DoorDash at 4:05, along with Etsy.
So I got Qualcomm
eBay.
already moving. You let me know when you have the actual numbers, but Qualcomm already up $8 after market here off a gorgeous breakout here through 170. So you've got a good percent move. Remember, it's early. We saw what happened with Amazon, where it was dipsy-do. It was up, it was down, around and around, so you do want to be careful here, but it looks like Qualcomm
I have the numbers, yeah.
So what do we have here for Qualcomm?
So we do have a beat here. Q2 revenue, $9.39 billion versus $9.34 billion expected. So beat $9.39 billion versus $9.34 billion expected. Let's see, for earnings per share, $2.44 adjusted versus the expected $2.32. So that is a beat as well for earnings per share. They're also nice move up here as well for these estimates. They did beat estimates across the board here. So they're seeing a Q3 sales of $9.2 billion. $2.25 per share for the EPS. So the expected was $9.05 billion and $2.17 per share. So beat across the board, higher than expected estimates here for QCOM. Yeah,
and great look. And the thing you remember for Qualcomm is it's a good barometer for like the Apples of the world. So if you've been worried about Apple trying to catch some bids in there, Qualcomm's holding on to 170. It has pulled back a little bit in the aftermarket, but remember, this was a stock that was down today. Just come to the 3-minute chart if we can for a second. This is a stock that, like everything else, dumped into the close. So you had the Powell pump, you had the Powell Pulse podium dump, and that was down into 164. So I feel like that might have aided the move a little bit. I always try to remember the context. If you drop this far, it's kind of flattish if you're hanging out in the 67, 68 range on Qualcomm. Some of the other ones that we're looking out for, DoorDash, again, a lot of things dumped at the end of the day. It's barely moving just yet. My personal, this could be the insane one, is going to be Carvana, and we have nothing yet out on Carvana. I feel like that's the one I'm the most excited for. Yes, Etsy is also reporting, everybody. But if they've already reported, nothing has happened. It looks like Qualcomm is going to be your stock du jour, still trading to the upside. I do like what I see here. I said Apple, let's double check it. Apple not catching too much of a bid. You saw Sean short that one into the end of the day. Sometimes you get a little bit of sympathy, and I don't wonder if they have to digest this one, maybe get a little more granular, especially with the guidance with Qualcomm before there's any reaction over there in Apple. But just a quick question for you, because I know, and I heard Sean say, and the first thing that came to my mind was, this is the first time you got to actually live trade a Fed number.
Yeah, this is, I mean, to be clear as well, I was not trading during the FOMC conference. I traded into it on the midday how to trade desk. But I will say there is a very different type of trading that occurs leading up to the Fed number. And so I was very happy to be able to take advantage of that. I was talking to Obi as well in the kitchen about the flip that we had from short to long heading into that Fed number. And that was very cool to trade live, seeing how you have to adapt your levels and maybe even flip what you were using to short off of. Maybe now you use that as support to go long. So that was really fun to witness in a live setting.
Yeah, and that's what you have to do. And we say this before, like a lot of traders, when they trade the first time, like, are you going to be trading on a Fed day or not? Some people will sit it out. Early traders, when they're trainees on the floor, sometimes won't even trade the first 5 minutes until it settles down, and then they work themselves into it. So getting the mental reps, or at least observing it and getting an idea of how it moves, it lets you put those trades on. All you had to do was pick one spot. Obviously, and we said it before, like a lot of things faded there off of that top, but you had to find something that suited you, that fit you, that is a trade that you were gonna take, and that's all that did matter. Still waiting here. I mean, look, I want to see Carvana, but DoorDash is now tanking. It's in a mad dash to the downside, Tyreek Hill style. It's cheated to the downside. So we have numbers out on DoorDash. Obviously, it's getting destroyed, down 14% DoorDash. That's not going to necessarily be good for Uber, which is already under some pressure. A little bit of a bounce here, but it looks like we have numbers on DoorDash.
Yeah, Dash lower than expected here. So net income, they lost $25 million versus the expected loss of $23.5 billion. So that is a miss here. Revenue for Q1, $2.5 billion versus $2.45 billion expected. So slight revenue beat here. It's same as what we saw last earnings report with DoorDash, revenue beat but EPS miss. So it seems like they're repeating that again. I'm not seeing their guidance yet here, but apparently they're seeing quarterly profit below estimate. So I'm going to find exactly what that guidance was, but EPS miss, revenue beat.
So at the end of the day, I mean, it's a bit mixed, but they're getting punished for it. They're back to 9% down from 14, but just to keep in mind, look at the daily chart on DoorDash. It's going to line up gorgeously if it continues to the downside, where the 200 period on the daily is going to sit at basically $100. That would be an obvious SSR bounce play if it even sneaks down there. We've seen outsized moves. When it comes to earnings season, you never want to take anything for granted as to how far things can go down. Just ask SMCI that. We know where this can happen. The other name that we are looking for, Etsy. It was never my intention to poo-poo on Etsy. That wasn't really what I was getting at. I think as a trading vehicle, it's a little bit different from what we normally look at. But Etsy to the downside, $10 at the worst. It's bouncing a little bit here, so Etsy numbers are out. It is down. It's now only 8%, but it was about 12 or 13% to the downside on Etsy. eBay also was out. Wasn't really as interested in them. But you are looking at misses on Etsy, miss on DoorDash. It's Qualcomm that's going to hold the crown aftermarket here today. As even with everything pulling back in, Qualcomm is going to retake some of those Powell highs. It's giving some back in here, but I do like that 170 and what it's been able to do. And if you're just looking for that higher time frame, which we should always do on Qualcomm, the key bounce here is holding on to 170 means holding above the 50 period on the daily. So that's an important level. This is like any other stock in tech space was hugging the 50 and then rejecting it. Reject, reject, reject. A close above would be key. Any failure under 166 is a big deal for Qualcomm, because that would be rejecting this push back into the upside. So I just wanted to get into a little bit of a quick review here, because we got the earnings plays in there. I still actually haven't seen Carvana. Let me just double check.
I think it was supposed to come out at 410 from what I'm seeing.
We have some time here. Yeah, you're right. I mean, Qualcomm is the big one. Carvana, obviously, with a gigantic short float of like 30%, that would be a biggie. But we're still waiting on that number. You know what? Some of these markets that we weren't paying attention to because it was a Fed day, worth noting, you had a big run on uranium up 3% today. I think that was pretty good. Gold doesn't necessarily surprise me. It was up a point today. Energy got shellacked down 1.5, just doing some housekeeping here for you guys.
Yeah.
But those are the things that stood out to me. I mean, uranium's been pretty resilient, a little surprised. Energy was down maybe a little more than I was anticipating at the 1.5%. But I feel like I'm really anticipating Carvana because I know Max, one of our traders, with a 30% short float and the recent moves that this stock has had, I just think it's got an absolute squeeze. I mean, the fact that it could squeeze through 95 as a top and potentially press 100, you don't get opportunities at breakouts at 95 and 100 on squeeze stocks. Those are very big round numbers that traders just get excited about. Yeah. Whether we can get it, I don't know, but they're not out just yet. We'll have to be patient with that. We're going to have the Fibonacci Princess coming through. There's a lot to go over. I know she's going to be interested in talking a little about AMD and some plays she has post-earnings. Yeah. But just a question for you on, like, what's your approach? Because I know immediately the first thing that stood out to me on the earnings we've got so far might be that DoorDash and the 50-period moving average, the 200-period moving average at 100. It's the only thing that stood out. Do you mark off levels? Do you not care? Because I like to set things up in my head.
Yeah, I think I will be honest, I probably should mark off levels more than I do. I think a lot of what I do as well, because I mostly trade during that midday period, I like to do intraday scalps. And if we get an intraday scalp opportunity and a range off of a previously interesting level, that's when things get really interesting to me. So I remember probably a couple months ago now, NVIDIA 727 to 724 for a couple days kept being interesting. So it's like if a level will repeat itself on an intraday basis over and over, then I think it shows more confluence. But I think I do have to be better about doing this this charting in advance as well, in addition to just my midday moves.
Well, I think it just happened. We just got to 95 on Carvana, so we joked about 95 and 100 on a squeeze. It looks like they are out. We'll get the numbers to you when they happen.
It's a revenue
beat. Your revenue beat for Carvana. So, $100 just got taken out. There it goes. Bye-bye, and right back in at 97. So it does tag that $100 level. Fresh highs for a brief couple of seconds here at least, as the 30% short float has the shorts absolutely crying right now as it's right through that 52-week high on Carvana. Wow, it's going to be nasty for some shorts. I bet you they're running to the hills at this moment. If it opens tomorrow above $100, and there's going to be some stops that are going to get run there. What are the numbers out here?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so we have adjusted EBITDA almost double what was expected here, 235 million versus the estimate of 124.6 million, and a revenue beat 3.061 billion versus expected 2.673 billion. So that is a pretty significant revenue beat as well. Not seeing the EPS, but those numbers on their own are very strong. We do have an expected move of 16% based on what I was seeing for the options.
Well, if you like 16%, then I think 26 is not that bad either. But of course, that's from yesterday's close. I mean, if you look at the move is insane here. If it can hold up, you have an outsized move. You've got the $100 level. You've got a 30% float. Now, I get it. I don't want to hear anyone talking about the fundamentals of the company when you're trading as a day trader. Sometimes you just have to follow it. I'm not here to tell you that this is going to be a great long in your long-term account, but I'm here to tell you the shorts are panicking. Now, 30% to the upside and still going higher on Carvana. We had an inkling that this was going to be the one. The fact that it's holding up 108 here is going to be absolutely insane. So a ridiculous earnings day. Weirdly enough, it's Carvana that gives you the big move to the upside, and unfortunately for Etsy and DoorDash, peace out. The excitement's over there in Carvana. We're going to have you guys let me know when we're ready, because I know we did the review very quickly, but on earnings day, I wanted to make sure we got CVNA in there. I'm really excited to talk to Tammy for the first time for myself, the Fibonacci Princess, because Fibonacci's are something that to very limited to basically no success, which I can admit to everybody else, or something I dabbled in, because I used to do a lot of penny stock trading when I started trading.
Okay.
And it was kind of a thing when you would kind of look for ranges, when something would break out of a range, and it's like this is a nothing company. You're just looking for levels that you can take profit and where you can get back in on dip buys. And so Fibonacci's were something that I tried to use, and I just never really had any success with it. I just kept going back to the basics of what was working for me, like support and resistance. So I'm pretty excited to talk to Tammy, and we're going to talk some shop here. Am I supposed to hit the Trader Talk button? Yes? Fabian says no. Ramin says yes. So let's get right on into it. Thank you very much there, Tammy. It's a pleasure to finally get a chance to talk to you. I've seen you on the Aftermarket Show several times here. It's an absolute pleasure. How was your day?
And what? To meet you, Neil. I'm so glad to be able to be on with you and get to talk to you and get to know you.
Well, appreciate it. So let's try to jump right into it, because I mean I could probably have you on here and ask you about execution strategies for Fibonacci's, but I think everyone wants to hear what you're looking at right now. It's been a big earnings week. Clearly, we don't get Apple till tomorrow and Amazon, but we've had Amazon, AMD, right now Carvana doing ridiculous things. What's on your radar, and what are you most interested in look for trades and maybe just for technical setups too?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I really don't personally trade earnings that much unless I decide I just want to do a lotto ticket on something, because what we say with our work is that our work is a crapshoot when it comes to earnings, because levels can be sliced right through. What I love to use our work for is run into earnings, but what I say is unless you want to sit through earnings, and I tell you to get out before earnings. So,
you know what I love about that?
That's kind of how we are.
No, what I actually really love about that, Tammy, is we say, there's a phrase that we like to say, it's called like stay in your lane.
Yes.
So, well, and as a trader, like today, when we're trading the Fed, I've basically been shorting Intel pretty much every single day for a while now, and it's like, okay, what's the stock I went to when the market started ripping that I felt good about the short end that I would take against the grain? So that's the one I was fading off of a level. And if you're a scalp trader, scalp trade. And if you're a technical trader, then you trade the technicals. Well, the problem with earnings, as you said, is things go helter-skelter. And if you're looking for technical setups and all that goes out the window at the moment, then you can go before or after. So just can we walk through like...
Exactly. And I love what you said right before I came on, which was you found what worked for you. So that is what I have to tell people all the time. They'll say, hey, what do? What works for you? And I'm like, listen, it is such a personal thing to find the pieces of the puzzle to your trading plan. And you have to figure out what works for you, because we can find things that work for each other. But for the most part, it takes years and fine tuning to figure out what your trading style is and what your trading plan is going to look like.
So speaking of that trading plan, I always went back and forth. I mean, the reason I didn't have success, I think, and this is just my estimation as to why when I was early penny stock trading, I had no success using fibs, is I wasn't really consistent in trying to find a way to deploy them. Essentially, I would just take any stock that broke the range I had traded it in. If I was range trading it for a week, it breaks that range. I'd be like, okay, plot it. That day, there's the bottom, there's the top. And either it works the next day setting it up, and if it didn't work that day, I didn't look at it again.
Right. And the thing is what I like to say about Fibonacci is it's a great tool in your toolbox. You want to have, when you have a toolbox, there are some essentials you have to have. You have to have a hammer, a screwdriver, flathead and Phillips. There's certain things that you have in every toolbox that you have to have. And this is one of those main tools that you want to have in your toolbox.
Yeah, and that's the key. So, okay, so walk me through, what's the name? I know AMD is the one that's sticking out in my mind, because you mentioned something about running into levels. Into earnings, I should say. Now, I mean, running can go both ways. This is a stock that ran heavily to the downside into earnings. So obviously, it's got a bit of a trend trade into it on the daily chart. Now, I know post earnings, maybe you look for reversals, that kind of thing. But this was clear. Like, there was one stop in there where if I was, like, for myself, when a stock does this, and can we just quickly go back to my daily? When a stock does this, pulls back, and then into earnings, you get this reversal off of the 50-period moving average. Like at that point, I'm like biased short, as a day trader, biased short side. So in this consolidation, it's like short this top in there every chance you get it, 170. It makes another step down. It's like try to short those. But those are all day trades. Like you're in, you're out. You're not really capturing a move. So on a move into earnings, like it's very different swing trading to day trading, because you kind of just come in, if I prefer the short trade, okay, find a short setup. It could be shorting a previous day high. It could be a gap and go strategy. It could be just a breakdown of a particular key level. It could present itself in one of many ways. So once you have maybe a direction on a stock, what are you really looking for maybe that entry point when it's already trending?
Okay, so for me, with AMD in particular, what I would be looking for is a short sell setup, okay? And I would be looking for symmetry and retracements or extensions coming together to form. The cluster is a very strong area because it has 3 or more Fibonacci price relationships that come together. Okay, so you were saying about something about the 50, so you come down, 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 you get that pop, and we're looking for something up into that pop. So this more recent pop that we've had, okay, we would have price resistance from some of these, previous swings here. Then you would have, almost like a little 2-step pattern there. And then you're going to have an extension up there. You're going to look at I'm sorry, I'm going so fast, but this is, this is kind of how I do it. But some retracements that are going to come together. We could even look at that overall high to low. And I'm talking about that previous low where you could have shorted from the 19th of April. And you've got a little area here anywhere from, 159, 161. That is a great area that includes symmetry, retracements, extensions, and it defines your risk. That is what I do. That's what the Fibonacci Princess does. I help you control your risk by giving you a defined zone, and you can say, hey, if it breaks this zone, then I'm out and I have a minimal loss. So that's what I like to look at.
You know what I love about that? And don't worry about, you're going too fast. I think everyone knows in trading, Sean and I are talking all day long trades, and I find the longer you've been in it, it comes to you quickly, you just talk your own language. Anyone can always watch it back. But I think the most important, you said 2 really important things. I don't want to pick and choose which one's more important there, but finding an area where you can be confident about the risk and where hey, if it breaks out of here, I'm wrong. Because I find I don't want to be in a trade if I don't know where I'm wrong. I can think the stock is a short to forever.
Amen.
But it's like, if I can't find a place to exit the trade, then the problem is I'm not going to exit the trade when I'm wrong. So I definitely love that. And what I love about that is, I think that when you do it the process that you just quickly showed us, you then found confluence, which is a term we love to use here, at a particular price level. So it wasn't as if you had one point in there with your strategy. Okay, well, this one line set up. Now I'm seeing where I went wrong with Fibonacci's back in the day, because I would just do it once and then be like, that one didn't work. Let's just move on. No, but you found multiple levels of confluence around that 161. That gives you more confidence in the trade. We cannot say this enough. If you have more than one reason for liking a level, you are going to make more money off that level because you'll put more risk on and feel more comfortable with risk in that price area. So
absolutely, and you should not ever go into a trade until you know what your stop loss is. If you don't know what your stop loss is, then walk away and spend more time studying and developing an effective plan. I mean, it's something that takes time. This is not if it was a get-rich-quick scheme, everybody would be doing it, right? This trading takes time. You have to be a professional. And guess what? You have to be able to play in the major leagues. You're trading against the major league baseball player traders, if you want to talk sports talk, which I love sports.
You are already now in my, okay, so fine, you were here, but now you've taken it to a whole another level. I'm a huge baseball fan. I love the fact you made a sports reference,
baseball.
But the fact that it was even baseball. Okay, Tammy, if you're ever in Toronto, I'm taking you to a Jays game.
Hey, listen, I want to come. I'm actually wanting to come and visit y'all. And so we really need to look at that because my husband's been trading for over 35 years. Y'all would love him. He's amazing. So we would love to come and visit y'all.
Look, at the end of the day, traders love talking shop, and it's baseball. What I love about baseball is you can sit there, you can enjoy the game, and you get good conversation, and it's that family sort of chill atmosphere, and you get the excitement to go with it. You're obviously not going to be.
Don't forget the beer and the hot dogs.
The beer and the dog is the way to go. Although the last time I was at a Jays game, it was like, really? Am I really spending $50? They had this maple.
Yeah.
So it was opening. They had a special maple bacon hot dog that was a new thing they have at the Dome because with Canada and maple, so they charge way too much. It's not even a foot long. It was this big, and it was like $30, which was not a very good value, but I was going to eat it anyways because I'm a sucker. But let's go back for just one quick second back into trading.
It's a man's foot long. It
wasn't even close to a foot long. If I'm paying $30, it should at least be a foot long hot dog. I'm a value type of person. Like I think in trading, it's the same thing too. Like if I can find two setups and one of them gives me just a little bit better risk to reward, you know exactly which one I'm putting on in that particular sense. But I do want to jump really back to something that you said there about it. You said like your husband's trading 35 years. First off, congratulations. Like that's
Yes.
that's impressive. Like I'm happy to have been
He is
your,
probably one of, I mean, he's in my mind, of course, but I mean, I really do think he's one of the best options traders in the world. He's unbelievable options trader. He understands the Greeks. He does classes on them. He's awesome.
And like you said, you've got to put the effort in. This is why we bring on guests like you, because at the end of the day, I know I don't know everything. We've had guests that have talked options before. Like the only options trading I've done in my long term, I'll put some covered calls on when I'm feeling a little bearish. That's about it. That's nothing. Essentially, it's like the most basic thing you can do with options, but I don't trade them. And I'm an equity trader only, and I day trade, so you sort of stick to that. And I love the fact that you stay in your lane because there's so much you can grow into just specifically in that lane. Like there's always more you can be doing without having to jump out.
Yes, and the great news is that my work does all of that. You can day trade, you can swing trade, you can trade options, you can trade stocks, you can trade futures, you can do anything with my work. I cover all of that.
Well, that's what I loved about when you have a signal like a Fibonacci's, because essentially when you're looking at a 161 on AMD, it gives you a price area that you can trade around. A day trader can use that for multiple day scalping off the same level. A swing trader can enter into that position and then hold it to their heart's desire. You can structure your options trading around that particular setup. So just out of curiosity, and this is just for my own just personal curiosity here. Now, how long did it take you to sort of refine, because you literally just went through, this is the perfect level in AMD, and that took you, in the analysis, what, 5 seconds? Maybe 10 seconds as you were going through that. Now, I'm going to imagine at some point when you were developing, these are the levels I'm going to look at to slap the fibs on. How long did that take you just to put that work in, just so that people don't get the idea like this happened overnight and you were able to sort of pick these levels on AMD?
Well, for me, I think in general, it probably would take somebody if they were, it just depends on the amount of time you put in it. Because what happened with me is I had a 1-year-old when I met Carolyn Borodin, who is the Fibonacci queen, who is my mentor and I still work with. And I would do this, 1 to 3 hours a day, not consistently because I had a 1-year-old. And it was a few years later that she ended up, hiring me to start working with her. So it's hard to say. I think that you could get the basic fib work down maybe in a matter of weeks or months if you really put a lot of work into it. But it would have to be something that you were really dedicated to learning. And the reason why, that's why I really think that it's better if you just come to our service, because we've got dynamic trader software that is so clean. And it's a lot harder on some of these trading platforms to run these levels because they're not really clean. And so I'm at Elliott Wave Trader right now in the Fibonacci Markets and Stocks room. It's myself, Carolyn Borodin, who is the Fibonacci queen, and then also our other partner, who is Shannon Fitch. We have a fantastic team over there, and we take really great care of y'all.
That's what I love to see. And it's something we also try to say that around here. It's like, look, at the end of the day, this is not easy. It's going to take a lot of time. And there are going to be tools out there that you can learn from others, because I know I had a few mentors. And obviously, I'm so happy for you that you found one, because I know how important that can be to help you grow. And it's a lot easier to learn from the mistakes and the successes of others and then build on your own journey. It does cut some of that time. It doesn't mean you're not putting in work.
You should have like a board of directors when you're trading,
Well, I
you
like
should have your own personal board of directors, and it doesn't have to be people you know. It can be people that don't even know you exist, but it's books, it's mentors, it's people that you get their trading strategies, you get their templates, you get their charting, and you use it and you figure out what works for you.
There you go. And thank you so much for joining us, Tammy. I feel like now that I also can see where you are in your socials, if you ever see somebody hitting you up asking you about random levels on Intel stock, it probably wasn't me ever at all. No,
Hey, listen, you can ask me anytime. I'm happy to run a chart for you. Just ask me. I am more than happy to. you get front row service.
I appreciate you so much, Entertainment. And I'm not lying about this Toronto thing. You're a baseball. I did not know you were a baseball fan. Sean hadn't mentioned that one yet. But if you are ever in
And
Toronto,
I also snow ski. I might live in South Georgia on a little tiny island, but I am a big snow skier. I love being in the snow. I love baseball. I love it all.
I'll be the first to admit, my wife loves skiing. I'm not much of a winter sport. I'm a bad Canadian in that regard. I'm not, okay, Dara's giving me a really bad look. I really am not a big skier or skater. It's what? You don't have to.
I'm from like deep winter Canada.
We don't all skate here and ski
That's
in
true.
Canada.
That's
I
true.
have skied before to mixed results, and thank goodness at that age there were no cell phones available.
Well, y'all just
So-
come down here to St. Simon's Island, Georgia, and come, lay on the beach. Does that sound better?
I mean, that's what's up. You come to Toronto, we'll go to a baseball game, and then I get to chill on the beach down there in Georgia.
Sounds
Thank you
great.
very much, Tammy. Everyone can find you at Trader Tammy, the Fibonacci Princess. I know for sure if we get a bounce in that AMD, that 161, I already liked it a little bit. Now I like it a heck of a lot more. Thank you so much, Sir Tammy. Can't wait to be able to talk to you again.
Okay, thanks. Y'all take care.
Take care now.
Bye-bye.
Baseball fan, yes. Yes, people like to dog baseball, like baseball's not interesting. Baseball's not fun. This just goes to show. We bring smart people on the show, and then they confirm the things we like to hear. No, but it was really important, a couple of things. I know you've just started your journey there, but we talk about this in like mentorship a lot, right? So someone that's very knowledgeable and clearly has been in the game a long time, and you hear two things out there. She talked about her husband's been trading 35 years and gave him praise. And then also talked about her mentor, the Fibonacci Queen, who was able to help her out there. You cannot say this enough. You're not going to do this on your own in trading. And one of the reasons I think the show has success is because if you're trading sitting there by yourself, it can be a lonely business, and you want to have someone to bounce ideas off of that you can learn from. Hopefully everyone gets a little bit of that. I don't know if we're supposed to only do it for 30 minutes or so, but it's already 4:30 as I've noticed. There used to be like a time thing that would come down here at Dara, but I just wanted to go back to, I know we had some earnings, and I just wanted to make sure everyone realized that this has happened. Carvana is up 42%. It's nonsensical. It's absurd. It doesn't mean that this is a great company, but 42% up, that 100 break went another $20. Now, this is clearly going to be on a lot of people's radar tomorrow for some follow-through. That is a ridiculous move.
That's nuts.
And it is sometimes really difficult to look at a stock that's up that much and structure trades. But that's what we're going to be here to do tomorrow morning like we do, as always, everybody. That's what it's all about here. That's the standout. I know, obviously, Carvana wasn't the only thing they're reporting here, but that's the one that caught my eye. I do want to get to, before we get into the roll call or anything like that, just one question for you today, because you were up today.
Thank you.
I just want to know, what was the number one stock? Because everyone saw my trades live. I just want to quickly see one thing that you were trading, if we can go through that.
Yeah, so my number one stock today, and honestly, I think probably the source of all, and maybe all of the gains I made today, was Pfizer. I took that Pfizer long off of that. We took the 27 break. I took it into high of days at the time, so I got in 26.58. And I talk a lot about how I like to have a very structured trade. I do not like to risk very much. We were risking into 26.53, so we were risking 5 pennies. I was trying to get that 26.65 break minimum because that was the flat top at the time. We took out half the position there. We saved the rest into 27.20. And what I want to say here as well, if I may, is because one thing we were talking about as well, and I really like what Tammy had to say about the board of directors while trading. I love this community, and I think I learned a lot from you and Sean, Sharif, Brendan, and everyone, but also everyone in the chat. So someone in the chat, shout out to Passover Trade if you're still here, something along those lines. That trader mentioned Pfizer to me, and that was why I started looking at that. So that's the stock that would not have been in my radar if not for this community. So I do want to say a shout out to this community. I was really happy I was able to find that trade and manage it.
What's amazing about that is Pfizer's been a dog, but there's a lot of great breakout trades in there from a risk to reward standpoint, because it was breaking consolidations and shooting up. And if you got any outs into 27.20, I mean, I just want to make sure everyone saw the chart here, because 27.20 is up here. So like any way you cut it, I don't care where you got into the stock, if you're able to get it, holding an upward trend all day long. Obviously everything pulled back, but worth mentioning, you found something that didn't even pull back anywhere close to lows. So it might be worth looking at that stock again tomorrow, Derek. Shout out to you for that, because I wasn't even looking at Pfizer. And again, a post-earnings play, in play, great setup, great hold. I think it's fantastic. But you know what time it is. We're going to roll call it out, everybody. What up? And you know what? Let me start with this one right in here. Bears versus Bulls. First, not last. I didn't shout you out on the live show today. I know I talk to you every single morning before we go live, but we don't shout you out enough. The best moderator in the business. Renata, shout out to you. Chill Vibes, I see you in there. Saul G. 450K subs tomorrow. You better believe we need 450K subs. That's what it's all about. We appreciate you, Monty, Andrew Chow, Kurum E-Lover? That just got retracted. I didn't get a chance to see what you put in there. Keep it clean, everybody. Derek got in there as well. Caput electronic music producer. Shout out to you, Andrew Chow, Bora Hutt, Tammy again, Chill Vibes. Keep it chill, baby. That's what it's all about. Sebastian, Mark L, Fat Figure. Haven't seen you in a hot minute. I know we chat every single day, but haven't seen you in the afternoon. BJZ. We got Toko as well. D-Loaf. Oh, I hate to see. You know what? Let me stop there for a second. You were closed orders today. Tomorrow's another day. We'll go back and get them. I was there. You know, I started out with some losing trades this morning as well. We're able to get it back and even had some not great trades in the afternoon, but it did end up positive, so we'll be happy about that. Shout out to you, S. Samuel, as well. Herb S., Cher E., AV, Joe Finero. We appreciate you all. Jeff Free as well. Silver in our pockets and not in our precipitation. We like it. I love the comments. We love it. It's such a great community. I can't say this enough. You know, the ability to not just have a bunch of people that, you know, we get to talk to on a daily basis and support us, even bounce ideas off of, was really cool, because I've said before, like I'll see someone mention a stock to me or a setup to me, and then it's like, oh yeah, something hits, and you're like, I wasn't gonna look at that. And then I did, and then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, that's a good trade. And I might not have gotten there if it wasn't for somebody else. And I can't say that enough. We're the best community out there because of you guys, the viewers. Let's get us to that 450,000 so we can put that in the rear view and get to 500,000, otherwise known as 500,000. So Adara, it's the first time I've got to host it with you.
This has been awesome, yeah.
Hopefully every single time we do the after show together, we can have something go up 43%. Shout out to anybody for any reason that might actually own Carvana shares. You definitely own the day and you've been printing. Tomorrow's another day. I can't promise you it's going to fill the gap or not fill the gap back in, but you know we will be back tomorrow. Carvana's going to be in play. Etsy, we had Qualcomm earnings. They were up for a little bit. DoorDash, not so good. Hopefully not taking Uber down too far with it, because I think that could be a bit of a concern. But that is your roll call. That is your aftermarket show. Shout out to Adara for that fantastic trade in Pfizer. I think that's absolutely awesome. I wish I had looked at the stock. I'm not even lying to you. That's 100% genuine, because I love that trend to the upside, and it was very, very clean. So for Sean, I'm Neil. That's Adara. This is Trader TV Live. We'll see you tomorrow morning. Go Carvana. What the heck?